رابوت الدرجة نقل.
አንዳንድ ሰዎች ፕራይቬት ኮንቨርሴሽናቸውን ለራሳቸው አድርጉ።
Put yourself on mute.
Okay, guys, we are live.
Are we ready?
Do it live on Facebook. I love it.
Are they doing it? When it's
Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
ኢትዮጵያ ማለት ለኔ አይደለም ቢዱክ ለጀሩ ከሱፉናይ እናት በሌላ ይየካነሳ ጅክነሳ እናት ቆጥ ተስማማት በሳ የሱ ውለታ ሳይተነሰው ኢትዮጵያ ሲባል አይደል ወይሰው እንኳን መጣችሁ በ3:15 እንጀምራለን ትንሽ በጊዜ ስለመጣችሁ እናመሰግናለን it's 3:12 now so we have 3 more minutes before we start okay በ3:15 እንጀምራለን thank you የጀግኖች አገር የአዳም ግራሻ በነገር ይሁን ያንቺ ስም ሲጠራ በሰማይ ላይ ባንዲራሽን አይቶ ስሜ ሲጠራ ማን ዝም ይላል ሰምቶ በሰማይ ላይ ባንዲራሽን አይቶ ኢትዮጵያ ሲባል ማን ዝም ይላል ሰምቶ የሰለሞንስ ነሽ የቅዱሳን ያበቀለሽ ቅጠል ዛሬ ሳይደርስ በሰው እሳት የኔ ቃል ሲቃጠል ሳይወሰን ዝናሽ በቅርሶችሽ በአድባራት ታሪኩ
ነቢያቸው ከፉ እያሉልሽ በመጻፍ ኢትዮጵያን አትንኩ በሰማዩ ላይ ቢታይ ቀለም የእሷ ነው እንጂ ሌላ አይደለም። የመጪው ዘመን ፊት ናት መሪ ዛሬ አለፍ ቢላት ኋላ ቀሪ ሰዎች ተውጣልኝ ለማደጋግሜ ኢትዮጵያ ማለት ለኔ አይደለም ስሜ ቢዱልኝ ጀለው ከመስቡ ላይ እናት በሌ
ታንኪዩ እናመሰግናለን። ኤልያስ ሙዚቃውን ታጠፋለን። አሁን እንጀምራለን ስብሰባችን።
Are we ready?
ያ
Sorry. Okay.
ክቡራትና ክቡራን ጥሪያችንና ክብራችሁ ስለመጣችሁ በኤፓክ ስም እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ እላለሁ። ሰላም እላችኋለሁኝ። የዛሬ ዝግጅታችን ኦክቶበር 17 ኮንግሬሽናል ብሪፊንግ ያደረግነውን በሱ ላይ በመገንባት አንዳንድ ነገሮች ዲስካስ እናደርጋለን ከእናንተ ጋራ። ዋናው እንትናችን ቴማችን ምንድነው? ዩኒቲ ኢትዮጵያን በአንድነት የሚል ነው ቶፒካችን። በዛ አካባቢ አንዳንድ ነገር እናቀርብላችኋለን። ኮንግሬሽናል ብሪፊንግ ላይ የነበሩት እንትኖች ፓነሊስቶች አንዳንዶቹ እዚህ ይኖራሉ። በተጨማሪም ደግሞ ሌሎች ፓርትነሮች እና ኮላቦሬተሮች ጋብዘናል እና አብረን ጥሩ ውይይትና ቆይታ እንደምናደርግ ተስፋ አለኝ እና ይህንን የዛሬን ዝግጅት በኤፓክ ሚዲያ ቻናልስ እናስተላልፋለን። በብዙም ደግሞ የገባችሁት ቻት ውስጥ ጥያቄ ካላችሁ ኮሜንት ካላችሁ ማስገባት ትችላላችሁ እና በዛ ላይ ቤተሰነን ዲስካስ እንነጋገራለን። ዋናው የዛሬ ዝግጅታችን ግን አንደኛው ትልቁ ነገር ያው ፋንድሬዚንግ ነው። ለሱም ተዘጋጅታችሁ እንደመጣችሁ ተስፋ አለኝ። Welcome everyone to AEPAC's webinar following our historic congressional briefing on October 17th. We're delighted to have you to join us in this discussion on the impactful work that AEPAC has undertaken over the past year, including crucial legislative updates. Today's session evolves around unity for Ethiopia, and we're just going to do a follow-up on our momentous briefing held in the United States Congress. Therefore, we are honored to have some of our speakers and panelists, as well as other collaborators and friends here with us. This webinar is a valuable platform for knowledge sharing, collaboration, and engagement, and we appreciate your presence and look forward to an enriching and insightful exchange of ideas. Thank you for joining us on this online forum. And we are also broadcasting live on the AEPAC social media channels. Right now, Ethiopia stands at the threshold of change, and AEPAC is actively contributing to this transformation. We're committed to making a difference, and your involvement is integral to our collective efforts. Thank you for participating in this online forum. And also, those of you who are on Zoom, please feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions and comments. And additionally, also, I would like to thank you for the fundraising and for the contributions that I know you will make. Okay, thank you. And this is today's agenda. I just did the moderation, the introduction, and our first speaker is going to be Mesfin. Mesfin Taganu የመጀመሪያው ተናጋሪያችን የእሱን ባዮ በእንግሊዝኛ ነው የማቀርበው። Mesfin Taganu is the founder and CEO of RX Paradigm. It is he is a nationally recognized thought leader in pharmacy benefits management and an early pioneer of pharmacy benefits industry. He has transformed a near startup in the business to an over multi-billion-dollar enterprise, or he has negotiated several $billion in rebate with major drug manufacturers for this enterprise. Mesfin is also actively involved in the community. He's currently serving as a board member of EPPAD, Ethiopian Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Scientists Association, and he's founder and executive chairman of AEPAC, and also he's a member of American Managed Care Pharmacy. Mesfin is a regular speaker who is frequently cited in his field as leading trade journals for his perspectives on drug access. Mesfin has a bachelor's degree in pharmacy from Addis Ababa University and a master's degree from St. John's University in Queens, New York. Mesfin is married to Nina and is the proud father of 2 daughters. And again, he's the founder and chairperson of AEPAC. So with this, I give you Mesfin, who is my boss, I should say. Okay, go ahead, Mesfin.
Thank you, Wesley. Thank you for this very, very, very generous introduction. ሁላችሁም እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ። በጣም እናመሰግናለን ቅዳሜ ከሰዓት በኋላ ጊዜያችሁን ሰጣችሁን እዚህ አብራችሁ ስለተገኛችሁ። እንግዲህ በመጀመሪያ I'm going to do most of my presentation በአማርኛና እንዳስፈላጊነቱ በእንግሊዝኛ. So for those of you who don't speak English, I will have my slides in English, but I will be speaking mostly in Amharic for this part of the presentation. እንግዲህ ዛሬ በኤፓክ ፎረም የተገኛችሁ ሰዎች ስለ ኤፓክ የምታውቁ ሳፖርተሮች አባሎች እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ። በተለያየ ቻናል የምትመለከቱት ፕሮግራሙን የምትከታተሉ ለመጀመሪያ ጊዜ የኤፓክ ቻናል ፕሮግራም ውስጥ ዛሬ የተሳተፋችሁ ወገኖቻችን ደግሞ እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ። ባጭሩ the mission of የኤፓክ ሚሽን ፐርፖዙ ምንድነው፣ ለምን ተቋቋመ፣ ምን እያደረገ የሚለውን ነገር አጠር አድርጌ ገልጸውና ከዛ በኋላ ወደ አንዳንድ አክቲቪቲዎች እና ደግሞ ይሄ ደግሞ የኮንግሬሽናል ብሪፊንጉ ለምን ተደረገ ምን አደረግን የሚለው ላይ በጣም ጠቅለል ባለ መንገድ ማብራሪያ ሰጣለሁኝ። ይቅርታ፣ ከዛ ዝርዝር ሁኔታዎች የዝርዝር መረጃዎችን ለምትፈልጉ ሰዎች ዌብሳይቱ አለ on aepac.com። የጽሁፉን ዶክመንት ደግሞ ከፈለጋችሁ ፕሊስ የኢሜል ካደረጋችሁልን እንልክላችኋለን። ኦኬ፣ እንግዲህ መጀመሪያ የኤፓክ ምንድነው፣ ለምን ተቋቋመ ወደሚለው ጋር እንሄድ። ሚሽኑ ምን ነበረ፣ ለምንድነው የተቋቋመው፣ ምን እያደረገ ነው? ኤልያስ የሚቀጥለው ስላይድ ጋር እንሄድ። እንግዲህ ኤፓክ የተቋቋመው የኢትዮጵያ አሜሪካን ኢትዮጵያንስ ፐብሊክ አፌርስ ኮሚቲ ወይም የአሜሪካን ኢትዮጵያውያን የህዝብ ጉዳይ ኮሚቲ ብለን ያቋቋምነው ኦርጋናይዜሽን የተቋቋመው ሁለት ነገሮችን ለማድረግ ነው። አንደኛው በኢትዮጵያና በአሜሪካ መካከል ለዘመናት የቆየውን ወደ የሁለቱን ህዝቦች ግንኙነት እዚህ አዲስ የመጣ ነው ኢሚግራንት ጀነሬሽንስ ተካፍለን የምናጠናክርበትን ሁኔታ ላይ ጠንክሮ ለመስራት እና ያም ፕሮ ኢትዮጵያ በሆነ አጀንዳ ላይ የተመሰረተ ወዳጅነት ማጠናከር ላይ ለመስራት ነው አንደኛው። ሁለተኛው ደግሞ የፕሮ ኢትዮጵያ የሚባል ወይም ኢትዮጵያን ማስቀደም የሚያስችሉ አጀንዳ ላይ በዩናይትድ ስቴትስ መንግስት ጋር በመተባበር በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ኢትዮጵያን ወደፊት ሊያራምድ የሚችሉ ስራዎችን የሚሰሩ ስራዎችን ለመስራት እነዚህ ኢትዮጵያን ማስቀደም ወይም ፕሮ ኢትዮጵያ አጀንዳ ማለት ምን ማለት ነው የሚል ጥያቄዎች ተደጋግመው ይመጣሉ። እነሱ እንግዲህ ምንድነው ዲፋይን የተደረጉት በኤፓክ መመሪያም እና እንደዚሁም ፖሊሲ የዲሞክራቲክ የሚባለውን ዲሞክራሲ ፕሮሰሶችን የሚያደርጉበት መንገድ ላይ ማድረግ የምንችለውን አስተዋጽኦ ማቅረብ። ሁለተኛ ሩል ኦፍ ሎው የሚሉት ወይም የህግ የበላይነት የተከበረበት ሶሳይቲ እንዲሆን የመጣንበት ሀገር የሚገባንን አስተዋጽኦ ማበርከት። ከዛ ደግሞ ሪስፔክት ፎር ሂውማን ራይትስ የሰብአዊ መብትን መከበር፣ የነፃ ፕሬስ፣ ከዛም አልፎ የግለሰብ መብት መከበርን ኢንዲቪጁዋል ፍሪደምስ፣ የሃይማኖት መብት መከበር እና ፍሪ ማርኬት ኢንተርፕረነርሺፕ በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ተስፋፍቶ የኢትዮጵያ የተጠናከረች ሀገር መሆን የምትችልበት መንገድ ላይ ማገዝ የሚችለውን ሁሉ በዚህ በተለያየ ዓለም ያለነው ዲያስፖራ እየተባለ የምንጠራው ሰዎች በተቀናጀ መንገድ ለኢትዮጵያ ማድረግ የምንችለውን እንድናደርግ ይህንን አጠናክሮ የሚሰራ ኦርጋናይዜሽን ያቋቋም ነው። እንግዲህ በዚህ መሰረት ነው ስራ የነበረውም ላለፈው 2 ዓመት ተኩል። ከዛ በኋላም አሁንም ስራ የቀጠለው በዚሁ መሰረት ነው። ኤፓክ የተቋቋመው በአሜሪካን የኤሌክሽን ቦርድ ህግ መሰረት ነው። በዛ ህግ መሰረት የተቋቋመ ኦርጋናይዜሽን ሲሆን ኦርጋናይዜሽኑ ከፖለቲካም ፓርቲ ሆነ ወይም ከመንግስት ጋር አፊሊዬሽን የለውም። በህግ አፊሊዬሽን የለውም። ቀደም ባለ ጊዜም አልነበረውም፣ ወደፊትም አይኖረውም። እንግዲህ ይሄ ሲሆን ኤፓክ በ2021 እና በ2022 አካባቢ ላይ ይሰራቸው የነበሩት ስራዎች እና ስንመለከትና በዛ ጊዜ በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ የነበረው ሁኔታና አሁን በ23 በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ያለውን ሁኔታ ስናይ በ21 እና በ22 ስንሰራ የነበረውና በ23 ስንሰራ የነበረው ምንድነው? የተለያየ ነው ወይስ አንድ አይነት ነው የሚለው ጥያቄ ላይ እንመጣለን። በ21 እና በ22 የዲሞክራሲክ ፕሮሰስ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ በመጠኑ ነበረ። ለዚህ ነው እንግዲህ እዚያ ላይ አረንጓዴ ምልክት የተደረገው ጥሩ ነው። ቢጫው ላይ አጠያቂ ነበረ ማለት ነው። ቀዩ ላይ ልክ ያልሆነ ልክ አይደለም ነው። እና ዲሞክራሲ ነበረ ወይ? ተጀምሮ ነበር፣ ኤሌክሽን ነበረ። ስለዚህ ያንን የማገዝ ተግባር አግባብ ነው ብሎ ያመነበት ነው ኦርጋናይዜሽኑ። ሩል ኦፍ ሎ ላይ ብዙ አጠያቂ ሁኔታዎች ነበሩ። ያኔም ቢሆን ችግር ነበር። ነገር ግን የሚሻሻልበት መንገድ ሊፈለግ ይችላል በሚል በዛ ሁኔታ ላይ ሲሰራ ቆይቷል። የሰው ልጅ መብቶች በሚመለከትም እንደዚሁ አጠያቂ ነበረ። በዛም ጊዜ ቢሆን ግን የሚቻልበት መንገድ ይኖራል የሚል ተስፋ ነበር። በፕሬስ ላይ የተሻለ ሁኔታ ነበር በዛ ጊዜ። እንደዚሁ ኢንዲቪጁዋል ራይት በሚመለከት ያኔም በኮንስቲቱሽን ላይ ድክመት ያለው ሁኔታ ስለሆነ ያኔም አለ ለማለት አይቻልም፣ አልነበረም። ፍሪደም ኦፍ ሪሊጅን የሚለው ወይም የሃይማኖት ነፃነት እንግዲህ በ20 እና በ21 ላይ ይሻል ነበር። እንደዚሁ ኢንተርፕረነርሺፕ በዚያው መካከለኛ ሁኔታ ላይ ነበር ፋንክሽን የሚያደርገው። እንግዲህ በዛ ሁኔታ ነበረ የኤፓክ አሰራሮችም ህግ አውጪዎችና ህግ አስፈጻሚዎች ጋር የነበረን አሰራር ያንን የተገናዘበ ነው። በ23 ስንመጣ የነበረን ተስፋ በሰሜን ያለው የትግራይ ጦርነት ካለቀ በኋላ በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ በ2023 መጀመሪያ ፕሮግራም ስናወጣ ኢንተርፕረነርሺፕ፣ ፓብሊክ ፕራይቬት ኢንቨስትመንት እና የኢትዮጵያ ኢኮኖሚ ካለበት ሁኔታ ወደፊት የሚራመድበት መንገድ ላይ ፎከስ እናደርጋለን። እዛ ላይ እንሰራለን ነበር ሀሳባችን። አንፎርቹኔትሊ ይሄ አልሆነም። ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ያለው ሁኔታ እንደገና ወደ ጦርነት ስለተቀየረ አሁንም ወደ መመሪያችን ወደ ቤዚክ ፕሪንሲፕላችን ተመልሰን ስናየው በአሁኑ ጊዜ ዲሞክራሲውም ሩል ኦፍ ሎው የሂውማን ራይትስ መከበርም የነፃ ፕሬስም የኢንዲቪጁዋል ራይት የተባለውም የሃይማኖት ነፃነትም በሙሉ ያልተከበረበት ሁኔታ ላይ ደርሰናል ማለት ነው። እና ኤፓክ ስለዚህ ስራውን ሲሰራ በ20 እና በ21 የሚሰራው ኢትዮጵያን ማስቀደም ወይም ፕሮ ኢትዮጵያ አጀንዳ የሚላቸው ስራዎች በመጠኑም ቢሆን መንግስት ሲያደርጋቸው ከነበሩት ነገሮች ጋር ይቀራረቡ ነበር። አሁን በ23 ፕሮ ኢትዮጵያ ተብለው እነዛው ስራዎች ግን ለየት ባለ ሁኔታ ነው ያሉት እና ኤፓክ አንድ ያለበት ቦታ የሚከተለው ፕሪንሲፕል አንድ ነው እና ስራውም ይሄው ነው። እናም እንግዲህ በዚህ ይሄ ሲሆን ወደ 224 ካምፔን እና ወደ ኮንግሬሽናል ብሪፊንጉ ስናልፍ የ224 የኤሌክሽን ካምፔን የዩኤስ የአሜሪካን ምርጫ በአሁኑ ጊዜ ዝግጅት መደረግ የሚያስፈልገው ላይ ስራ ተጀምሯል። እንግዲህ አንፎርቹኔትሊ የዘንድሮ ምርጫም እንደገና ወዳጆች ብዙ እያፈራን በኢትዮጵያ ላይ ያለውን ሁኔታ መፍትሄ የሚያገኝበትን በአስቸኳይ መፍትሄ የሚያገኝበትን ሁኔታ ማድረግ የሚያስፈልግበት ሁኔታ ላይ ያለ ነው እና እዛ ላይ ነው ስራ የሚሰራው ማለት ነው። እንግዲህ የ23 ፕራዮሪቲያችን ተቀይሮ የ24ኛው የ224 ፕራዮሪቲ ስናዘጋጅ አሁን ጠቅላላ ፎከሱ በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ያለው ጦርነት እንዴት ነው የሚቆመው? በህዝብ ላይ እየደረሰ ያለው በተለይም ደግሞ በአሁኑ ጊዜ በአማራው ክልል ላይ በአማራው ህዝብ ላይ የተዘመተው ዘመቻ መቆም ያለበትና መቆም የሚችልበት መንገድ እንዴት ነው? በተለያዩ የኢትዮጵያ ክፍለ ሀገራት ማለትም በቦረናም በትግራይም በሰሜን ጎንደር እየተከሰተው እንግዲህ ሰው ሰራሽ ድርቀት እንደዚሁም በአፋር በኦጋዴን በጅጅጋ በጉራጌ አካባቢ በወለጋ አካባቢዎች እየተካሄደ ያለው ወገን ማፈናቀል እና የመሳሰሉት መግደል በክርስቲያንና በእስላም ሃይማኖት ላይ እየደረሰ ያለው ጥቃት በሰላማዊ ሰው ላይ እየፈረሰ ያለው ቤትና ሰው በገዛ ሀገሩ ቤት አጣ የሆነበት ሁኔታ እንደዚሁም ያለምንም ፍትህ ከየቤታቸው የታሰሩ ተለቅመው የታሰሩ ሰዎችና በዘር ተኮር በተለይ ደግሞ በአሁኑ ጊዜ በርከት ባለ በጣም በተጠናከረ ሁኔታ በአማራው ወገኖች ላይ የተለየ ጥቃት እየደረሰ ያለውን እንዴት ነው እዛ ላይ ምንድነው ኃላፊነታችን ያንን ሁኔታስ ማለዘብ የሚቻለው እንዴት ነው የሚለው የ2023ን ስራና የ2024ን ስራ እንዲቀይሩና እዛ ላይ ፎከስ ለማድረግ እንዲሆን አስገድዷል ማለት ነው። እና እንግዲህ ይሄ በዚህ ላይ ፎከስ ማድረግ ሲያስፈልግ ዋናው የኮንግሬሽናል እርዳታ የሚያስፈልግበት የህግ አውጪዎች እርዳታ የሚያስፈልገው ስራ ስለሆነ ከዚህ በታች ያሉት ፎቶግራፎች ላይ እንደምታዩቸው በርከት ያሉ ለአንድ በየቢሮ ሰዎች በማነጋገር ሁኔታውን ለማስረዳት ብዙ ሙከራ ተደርጓል። ከኔ ቀጥሎ የሌጂስሌቲቭ ኮንሰልተንታችን ስለዛ ትንሽ ዝርዝር ስለሚሰጠን እሱን እዛ ጋር ለሱ ተወውና ይሄንን የሁኔታው ማስቸኳይነት ይሄ በአንድ ጊዜ ሄደን ከአንድ ቢሮ ከሁለት ቢሮ ጋር እየተነጋገሩ ጉዳዩን ግቡ ከማድረሱ አንጻር ያለው ጥድፈት በጣም ስላሳሰበን የብሪፊንግ ማዘጋጀት ይሻላል። ይሄ ብሪፊንግ ውስጥ 35 ወይም 40 የሚሆኑ ህግ አርቃቂዎችን በማሰባሰብ እነዚህ ህግ አርቃቂዎች ለሁሉም ባንድ ጋር ያለውን ሁኔታ በማስረዳት የሚያስፈልገውን ኢንተርቬንሽን ወይም አስፈላጊ የሆነውን እርዳታ ለኢትዮጵያ ማግኘት የምንችልበትን መንገድ እንመሞክር አለብን በሚል ይሄ የኦክቶበር 17ቱ የኮንግሬሽናል ሂሪንግ እንዲዘጋጅ ወሰን እና 2 ወር ባልሞላ ጊዜ ውስጥ እንግዲህ ይሄንን ኮንግሬሽናል ሂሪንግ ተዘጋጅቷል። እዚህ ላይ በርከት ያሉ ነጥቦች አሉ፣ ግን ለምትፈልጉት ሰዎች ቅድም እንዳልኩት በኢሜይል እንልክላችኋለን ከላካችሁልን። ግን ዋናው የኮንግሬሽናል ብሪፊንጉ ምን ነበረ ፐርፖዙ፣ ምንድን ልታደርጉ ነው የሄዳችሁት ለሚለው ጥያቄ አንደኛ በአስቸኳይ በአሁኑ ጊዜ ህዝብ ማለቅ እያለቀ ነው። በጣም ሴንስለስ የሆነ አስፈላጊ የሆነ ጦርነት እየተካሄደ ነው ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ አላማ ቢስ እና ያ መቆም አለበት። የታወጀው በህዝብ ላይ በተለይም አማራው ህዝብ ላይ የታወጀው ጦርነት መቆም አለበት እና የዓላማ ብለን ለአድማጮቹ ወይም ለህግ አርቃቂዎቹ የነገርናቸው በዚህ ጦርነት እና ያለው ጠንቅ ከኢትዮጵያ አልፎ በምስራቅ አፍሪካና እንዲሁም የምዕራባውያን ጥቅም ሊያናጋ የሚችል መሆኑን እና አይመለከተንም ማለት እንደማይቻል እና ይሄንን ሁለተኛ ደግሞ የዜጎች ያለ ፍትህ በጅምላ መታሰር የህግ የበላይነት አለመኖሩና የሀገር ሚሊተሪ በሲቪሊያን ላይ የሀገር ሚሊተሪ ሲቪሊያን ላይ ማዝመት ያለውን ህገወጥነት በዓለምም ሆነ በኢትዮጵያ ህግ መሰረት መታየት እንደሚገባው የሃይማኖት ነፃነት እና የሃይማኖት ነፃነት አለመኖርና የሃይማኖቶች ላይ የሚደረጉ ተጽዕኖች ከዓለም አቀፍም የሃይማኖት ነፃነት ህግ አንጻርም አግባብነት እንደሌላቸውና ይኸውም እዚህ ላይም ኢንተርናሽናል ኮሚቴው ኃላፊነት እንዳለበትና ኃላፊነቱን መውጣት እንደሚገባው ከመጠን በላይ ባጣ ኮራፕሽን ከኢትዮጵያ የዓለም አምስተኛ ከዩናይትድ ስቴትስ አምስተኛ ሪሲፒያንት ናት እርዳታና ፋይናንሻል ኤድ ያንን ጥቅም ላይ የማዋሉ ሁኔታ አጠያቂበት በሆነበት ሁኔታ ከ5 ሚሊዮን በላይ ሰው የተፈናቀለበት ከ30 ሚሊዮን በላይ በሰው ሰራሽ ረሃብ ችግር ውስጥ እየወደቀ ያለበት ሀገር ስለሆነ ያንን ምክንያት ያ ችግር ለምን እንደመጣና አመጣጡም ያለበት ሁኔታና ወደፊት መፍትሄው ምን እንደሆነ መታወቅና በእነዚህ ኢንተርናሽናል ቦዲዎች መጠናትና አስፈላጊውን ያላቸውን ኃላፊነት መውጣት እንደሚገባቸው ላይ ያተኮረ ነው። እንግዲህ ይሄኛው የብሪፊንጉ ምንድነው ዓላማው ለምን ነበር ብሪፍ የተደረጉት የሚለው ላይ ነው። ምንድነው ከዚህ በኋላ ምን ይደረግ? ከዚህ ከሁለት ሰዓት ተኩል በኋላ በጣም አድማጮቹ ተሳታፊዎቹ ኢሞሽናል የሆኑበት ብሪፊንግ ነው ለማለት ይቻላል። ምንድነው የምትፈልጉት? ምን እናርግ የሚለውን ነገር ላይ የነበረው መልስ የነበረው ጥያቄ አንደኛ በአስቸኳይ ያለው ኢትዮጵያ በአሁኑ ጊዜ ያለው ጦርነት መጀመሪያ መቆም አለበት። ይሄንን በሀገርና በህዝብ ላይ የታወጀው ጦርነት መቆም እንዳለበትና በዚህም ይሄም እንግዲህ የኢንተርናሽናል ኮሚኒቲው ምንም እንኳን ይሄ የሀገር ጉዳይና የሀገርን የሚያስተዳድሩ አካል ኃላፊነት ቢሆንም የኢንተርናሽናል ኮሚኒቲው እንደውም እና የዩናይትድ ስቴትስ አያገባቸውም የሚባልበት ነገር ስላልሆነ ስለሚያገባቸው በዚህ መሰረት አስፈላጊውን የራሳቸውን ኃላፊነት መወጣት እንዳለባቸው እና ለዚህ ይህንኑ ማድረግ እንዳለባቸው ነው እንግዲህ አንደኛው እና ይሄም ከጦርነቶቹ ከማቆሙ ባሻገር ማንኛውንም እንዲቆሙ ማንኛውንም አስፈላጊውን ነገር በኢንተርናሽናል ህግም በኢትዮጵያ ህግም በዩናይትድ ስቴትስ ህግም ቢሆን ያሉትን ነገሮች በሙሉ ስራ ላይ በመዋል የሲቪሊያን መገደል መቆም እንዳለበት ከዛ በመቀጠል ደግሞ በአሁኑ ጊዜ ይህንን አይነት በደል በህዝብ ላይ እና እልቂት ሲደርስ ለዚህ ኃላፊነት መወሰድ ይገባል የሚል እምነት አለ እና ይሄም በዚህ በዩናይትድ ስቴትስ ህግ መሰረት ማግነስቲ አክት የሚባል አለ። በዛ አክት መሰረት ሲቪሊያኖች ላይ አላግባብ የሲቪሊያን ህይወት የሰዎች እና እንደዚሁም የመሳሰሉ ከዛ ጋር የመሳሰሉ ጥፋቶች ከጠፉ መንግስት ሊጠየቅበት የሚችልበት ወይም የመንግስት ግለሰብ የሆኑ አዛዦች ሊጠየቁበት የሚችልበት ሁኔታ ስላለ ይሄ አክት የኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ እየተሰራ ያለው ስራ በዛ ደረጃ መድረስ መቻሉ ተገምቶ አስፈላጊው እርምጃ መውሰድ እንዳለበት የሚል ሲሆን ከዛም ሌላው ደግሞ የምንም አይነት በአሁኑ ያለው ሁኔታ ተስተካክሎ ኢትዮጵያውያን መግባት መውጣት የሚችሉበት በህዝቡ በአገር ውስጥ በሰላም መኖር የሚችልበት ሁኔታ መረጋጋት እስከሚችል ድረስ የምንም አይነት የፋይናንሻልም ሆነ የሎን ስራዎች ሲካሄዱ እነዛ ኮንዲሽኖች መሟላታቸው መረጋገጥ አለበት ነው። ሰው መግባት መውጣት መቻል አለበት። ሩል ኦፍ ሎ መከበሩን ኤትኒክ ቤዝድ ወይም በዘር ላይ ያተኮረ ጥፋት መስራት መቆሙን ራምፓንት ኮራፕሽን ላይ የሆነ ቁጥጥር መደረጉን ጋዜጠኞችና የፓርቲዎች ኦፖዚሽን ፓርቲ መሪዎች መታሰር ማቆማቸውንና ሃይማኖትና የዲሞክራቲክ ፕሮሰሱ መታረም መቻሉን የሚያመለክቱ ወይም የሚያረጋግጡ ነገሮች መታየት አለበት። ያ በሌለበት ሁኔታ ምንም አይነት የፋይናንሻል እርዳታ ማድረግ ከዚህም ሀገር ፕሪንስፕል ከኛ ታክስ ፔየሮች ነን ከምንለው ሰዎች ኢንትረስት ውጭ ነው እና እነዚህን ነገሮች መሆን አለባቸው ነው የመጨረሻ ላይ ብሪፊንጉ ላይ የቀረበው ጥያቄ። እንግዲህ በአጠቃላይ ብሪፊንጉ ይሄን ይመስል ነበር። ከብሪፊንጉ በመቀጠል ምንድነው የሚቀጥለው ስራ የሚቀጥለው አክሽን ምንድነው የሚለውን እሱን ወደ ክሪስ አስተላልፋቸዋለሁ። ብሪፊንጉ በአጠቃላይ ይሄን ይመስላል። So I am going to now pass you to Chris Drum. He is the legislative consultant and lobbyist that closely works with the American Ethiopians Public Affairs Committee to proceed. So I think Wasi will introduce him, but he's going to take it from where I finished and explain next steps, legislative activities, next steps on the hearing, and then any other related stuff. Wasi, back to you.
Okay, thank you. And so with this, I will introduce Chris. Chris's involvement in politics began in the 1980s Pennsylvania primary as a statewide campus coordinator for Senator Edward Kennedy's campaign for presidency. And afterwards, he worked in many different campaigns. In 1987, Chris was elected leader of Philadelphia's 63rd Ward, the youngest person to hold that title. Professionally, politics led Chris to positions with Philadelphia City Council, the Delaware River Port Authority, and the office of Congressman Robert Borski. Chris began his career as a lobbyist in St. Joseph's University, where he served as a special advisor to the president and vice president of the government affairs. He successfully pursued his master's of public administration degree at the University of Pennsylvania. Chris spent the last 20 years leading government affairs at Emory Health Caritas, where he played a crucial role during a remarkable period of profitable growth for the Philadelphia-based corporation. And Chris now has his own consulting firm and works as a lobbyist, among others, for AEPAC. He lives in Montgomery County with his wife, Maureen, and their 4 children. Chris, you have the floor.
Wasi, thank you for the introduction and for your friendship. As Wasi noted, my name is Christopher Drum, and I'm both pleased and honored to be working for the American Ethiopian Public Affairs Committee. To reiterate some of what Mesfin covered, our chair, AEPAC leadership has spent much of the past half year reaching out to members of Congress, both by way of correspondence, written and electronic, and through face-to-face meetings in offices and at fundraising and at social events. Hundreds of letters and emails, dozens of meetings with members of Congress and their staff. Much of that work came to fruition on October 17th at the congressional briefing we're going to talk about. Now, at the briefing, we had invited members of the House Ethiopian American Caucus, the House Foreign Affairs Committee, the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, the Congressional Black Caucus, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and the Senate Human Rights Caucus. And our event in the Rayburn House office building began October 17th at noon, which directly coincided with the first round of votes to replace a vacated speaker's chair, which is the first time that's happened in 250 years. In spite of that massive distraction, we were able to attract 45 or so staffers. And I'm very proud of the group we attracted. They were a diverse group representing both members of the Senate and the House, representatives of both new friends and old friends, Republicans and Democrats, and over 15 states, as well as the staffer from the United States Commission on International Freedom. And the meat of the briefing was our witnesses, and who were magnificent. Our witnesses told a story, a compelling story from their own perspective, and they hit just the right balance, explaining both the current situation in Ethiopia, the current crisis, and issuing a call to action of these congressional staffers. I was very pleased with that. All congressional attendees were provided with a congressional briefing document, which is quite good. And subsequent to the hearing, each attendee from a member of Congress's office received a briefing summary electronically, and that was put together by AEPAC leadership, and again was quite strong. I think the very good news coming out of the briefing is our speakers were able to capture the attention and the imagination of several staffers who participated, and this has led us to a situation where we now have 2 offices with talented and motivated people working to draft legislation on our behalf. And we'll provide additional details on that legislation, on that draft legislation, as matters progress, as the legislation matures. But all in all, a very successful day. And with the result we were looking for, that is legislation, people taking pen to paper and drafting legislation based on our suggestions, our ideas, our recommendations. So quite pleased. Wasi, that's what I have. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Chris. I mean, if people have questions or comments, they can put it in the chat and we'll get back to that. And we'll have the discussion after that. But thank you, Chris. And Chris is really very invaluable for AEPAC. All this would not have been possible also without you. So we're very grateful for that.
Thank you, Wasi.
You're welcome. So AEPAC is always reaching out, to bring the Ethiopian community together. And so right now we have our next speaker, Abdi Mohammed, who is a refugee from the Ogaden region of Ethiopia, who has had a remarkable journey in these United States. He has a BA in Business Administration and Finance from San Diego State University, a master's degree in management from the University of Redlands School of Business, certificate in Advanced Executive Management from Stanford, and an executive leadership certificate from Harvard University's Kennedy School. And in 2007, he completed a graduate certificate program at the United States Institute for Peace with a focus on preventing violent conflicts. Abdi is currently the CEO of Horn of Africa Community, a nonprofit organization whose aim is to uplift and assimilate San Diego's East African American community while maintaining their culture and heritage. Abdi has in the past spearheaded international conferences on Somalia state of Ethiopia throughout the United States. Abdi is also on several key advisory boards, including the External Advisory Board to the Dean of College of Education, San Diego State University, and Abdi is one of our great champions for our pro-Ethiopian champion. Welcome, Abdi. You have the platform. Elias, can we focus on his picture, and can you unmute him? Abdi, are you there?
Yeah, I can't see his name. Is that Abdullah?
Did you come in as Abdullah? Abdi, did you come in as Abdul? Is that you?
You can unmute yourself.
He's Abdi. Abdi.
Okay. Just give me a minute.
Unmute him.
Actually, can you see it? Can you see him?
No.
Yeah, no, I don't see Abdi right now.
No.
I see Abdullah or
Abdul, you see Abdul, can
you send me a chat? Just drop me a chat. What your name is, so that I can bring you up.
Okay, so we'll give it a minute. If not, we'll continue to the next, and then we'll come back to him. Okay?
Sure.
All right. So our next speaker is, we're going to go into the fundraising. We're going to have a few fundraising sessions within this session. So our next speaker is Yom, and Yom is going to be talking about the contributions of AEPAC And so I'll just introduce him just a little bit about Yom. He's the president of USA Pharmacy Products, Inc., a pharmaceutical distribution and export company with over 25 years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry. He serves in many boards of several nonprofits and civic organizations, of course, in AEPAC and others. He's also in the International Orthodox Caritas board member. And Yom is an advocate and a philanthropist. He is married to Saba and has a daughter. So Yom, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Wasi. Thank you, Wasi. Can you hear me?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ዋሲ። በጣም ጥሩ አድርገሽ ስላስተዋወቅሽኝ ከልብ አመሰግናለሁ። እኔ የምናገረው መጀመሪያ ኤፓክ ምን አይነት ነገሮችን እንደሰራ ነው። ቅድም አቶ መስፍን በደንብ አድርጎ አስረድተዋል። ግን እኔ ለዚህ ለፈንድሬዚንጉ ሲባል ሰመሪ እሰጣለሁ ትንሽ እና ግን የምጀምረው ከዳያስፖራ ነው። እንደሚታወቀው ዳያስፖራ ለኢትዮጵያ ፈጥኖ ደራሽ ነው። በተለይ ባለፉት 2 ዓመታት ሀገራችን ትልቅ አደጋ ላይ በወደቀችበት ጊዜ የደረሰው ዳያስፖራ ነው። ኢትዮጵያ ማንም አልነበራትም። ዳያስፖራ ለኢትዮጵያ ፈጥኖ ደራሽ ነው ስል ይሄ እውነት የተደረገ ነገር በገንዘቡ፣ በእውቀቱ፣ በጊዜው ስራውን ኃላፊነቱን ትቶ ለሀገሩ በዲፕሎማሲ፣ በፐብሊክ ሪሌሽንስ፣ በሎቢ ብዙ ሲሰራ ነው። በኢኮኖሚ በኩል ደግሞ ዳያስፖራ በአመት ወደ ሀገሩ የሚልከው ገንዘብ በጣም ከፍ ያለ ነው። $7 ቢሊዮን ባለፈው ዓመት እንደውም ኦፊሻሊ ራሱ 5 ቢሊዮን ከዛ የበለጠ ነው እና በዚህ ባለበትም ሀገር ዳያስፖራ በጣም አድጓል። 1 ሚሊዮን የሚሆን ዳያስፖራ ኢትዮጵያን ዳያስፖራ አሜሪካን ሀገር አለ። ለምሳሌ በዋሽንግተን ዲሲ ዲኤምቪ ኤሪያ ወደ 300,000 በላይ ነው። ብዙ አይነት ስራዎችን እየሰራ ነው። ቢዝነሶች የከፈተ ነው። ብዙ ዶክተሮች አሉ፣ ብዙ ሎየሮች አሉ፣ ብዙ ኢንጂነሮች አሉ እና ሰክሰስፉል ሆኗል ዳያስፖራ እና ይህ ሁሉ በጣም የሚያኮራ ነገር። ዳያስፖራ ደግሞ ለሀገሩ ይረዳል። በረሃብ ጊዜ፣ በችግር ጊዜ፣ በጦርነት ጊዜ ለህዝቡ ደራሽ እና ይሄ የሚያኮራን ነገር ነው። ነገር ግን መንገርማችሁ ነገር እስከዛሬ ድረስ ባለፉት 50 ዓመታት ዳያስፖራ አሜሪካን ሀገር መጥቶ ሴትል ካደረገ ወዲህ አሜሪካ ውስጥ ሬፕሬዘንቴሽን አልነበረው። የኢትዮጵያ ዳያስፖራ አንድም ኮንግሬስማን አይለውም፣ አንድም ሴናተር አልነበረም፣ አንድም ኮንግሬስማን አስመርጦ ኤፓክ ተቋቋመ። ኤፓክ ታሪካዊ የሆነ ድርጅት ነው ለማለት ያስችላል። ለምን? የመጀመሪያው ነው። በአሜሪካን የኤሌክሽን ኮሚሽን ህግ መሰረት ተቋቁሞ ኢትዮጵያኖችን ሪፕሬዘንትድ እንዲሆኑ የኢትዮጵያን ኢንትረስት የሚያስጠብቅ ድርጅት ነው እና በኢትዮጵያ አሜሪካ መካከል ያለውን ግንኙነት በማጠናከር ኤፓክ መንግስታዊ ድርጅት እንዳልሆነ ቅድም ተገልጿል። ማንም ፖለቲካ ደጋፊ ድርጅት አይደለም እና ብዙ በጣም ጥሩ ውጤቶችንም አስመዝግቧል። ከነኚህ መካከሉ ብዙ ኢትዮጵያን የሚደግፉ ፕሮ ኢትዮጵያ ካንዲዴት ከማስመረጡም በላይ ለብዙ ወዳጆችን ለኢትዮጵያ አፍርቷል። ኢትዮጵያ ኮከስ እንደገና እንዲቋቋም እንዲጠናከር አድርጓል እና ኤፓክ በምርጫም ደግሞ ተሳትፏል እና ብዙዎች ኢትዮጵያኖች እንዲመርጡ ቮተር ኤጁኬሽን አካሂደዋል። በየከተማው እየሄደ ቅድም ክሪስ ድረም በደንብ አስረድቷል። ብዙ ኮንግሬስማኖች፣ ብዙ ሴናተሮች በየጊዜው እየሄደ ያነጋግራል፣ ስለ ኢትዮጵያ ጉዳይ ያስተምራል እና በዚህ ብዙ ስራ ነው የሰራው። ከዚህም ደግሞ በቅርቡ ደግሞ ይሄ በጣም ሲግኒፊካንት የሆነ ኮንትሪቢሽን ካደረጋቸው አንዱ በእውነቱ ለኢትዮጵያኖች ሬፕሬዘንቴሽን መፍጠሩ እና ይሄ ታሪካዊ ነው እና በዚሁም ደግሞ ብዙ ሬኮግኒሽን አግኝቷል። አፍሪካ ማጋዚን ዋን ኦፍ ሞስት ኢንፍሉዌንሻል ዳያስፖራ ኦርጋናይዜሽንስ ብሎ ኤፓክን ሰይሞታል እና ይህም ደግሞ የተደረገው በጣም በእውነት እኔ አብረው የሚሰሩትንም በእውነት ለማመስገን ፈልጋለሁ። በጣም ታታሪ ብዙ ቮለንቲርስ ያላቸው ሀገር ወዳቶች አብረው ከኤፓክ ጋር ስለሚሰሩ ነው እና ይህንን ለማመስገን እፈልጋለሁ እና ኤፓክ ብዙ ሪሌሽንሽፕ ቢልድ አድርጓል። ኢትዮጵያ ላይ አንፌር የሆነ ሌጅስሌሽን እንዳይጸድቅ አድርጓል እና በቅርብ ጊዜ ደግሞ እንደተነገረው በጣም ታሪካዊ የሆነ ኮንግሬሽናል ብሪፊንግ ካሂዷል። እዛ ላይ ብዙ ክሬዲብል ኤቪደንስ አሳይቷል። በፎቶግራፍ፣ በቪዲዮ፣ አይን እማኝ እና ይሄ በጣም ብዙዎች እዛ የነበሩትን ሰዎች ይሄ በኢትዮጵያ የሚሆነውን ነገር እንዲያምኑና አድርጓል። ኤፓክ በማስረጃ የሚጠቀም እውነተኛውን ነገር የሚናገር ክሬዲብል የሆነ ድርጅት እንደሆነ አረጋግጧል። እና አሁንም ደግሞ የዩኤስ ገቨርንመንት ኮንግሬስ በአሁኑ ሰዓት በሀገራችን ላይ ያለውን ጦርነት እንዲቆም ጠይቀዋል። በዛው ሰዓት በአማራው ሕዝብ ላይ የሚደረገውን ዘር ተኮር የሆነ ግድያ እንዲቆም፣ ግለሰቦችን ሲቪሊያኖችን በድሮንና በከባድ መሳሪያ እንዳይገደሉ ጠይቋል። ቤቶች እንዳይፈርሱ፣ ቤተክርስቲያናትን፣ ሞስኮች እንዳይፈርሱ ጠይቋል። እና ደግሞም እነኚህን ደግሞ ወንጀል የሚሰሩት ሰዎች ደግሞ ተጠያቂ እንዲሆኑ ጠይቋል። እነኚህን ሁሉ ተግባራት ኤፓክ እየሰራ ነው ያለ። አሁንም ኤፓክ ኢንትረስቱ ምንድነው? ዋናው የኢትዮጵያን ኢንትረስት የማስጠበቅ ኢትዮጵያን ሰላም እንድትሆን የማድረግ ዲሞክራሲ እንዲሰፍን አገሪቷ ሰብአዊ መብት እንዲከበር በዜጎች በማንነታቸው መገደል፣ መታሰር፣ ቤት ማፍረስ፣ ሰብአዊ መብት ጥሰት እንዳይደረግ ማድረግ እና ይህንን ሁሉ ነገሮች እያደረገ ነው። ስለዚህ ለሰላም የቆመ ድርጅት ነው፣ ለዲሞክራሲ የቆመ ድርጅት ነው፣ ለሰብአዊ መብት የቆመ ድርጅት ነው፣ ለዳያስፖራ የቆመ ድርጅት ነው። ኤፓክ ማለት ዳያስፖራ ማለት ኢትዮጵያን ዳያስፖራ ማለት ሪፕሬዘንቴሽን ያለው የዳያስፖራ ልሳን ድምፅ ነው ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ በዚህ መልክ ለመጀመር እፈልጋለሁ። አሁንም ኤፓክ ብዙ ፕላኖች አሉት። አሁን ክሪስም እንደተናገረው ሌጅስሌሽን አለ እና ሌሎችም ብሪፊንጎችም ይደረጋሉ እና ግን እንዳልኩት እነኚህን የኤፓክን ዓላማ የኢትዮጵያን ኢንትረስት ብቻ የሚያስጠብቅ ድርጅት ስለሆነ እነኚህን ሁሉ ነገሮች ለማድረግ ገንዘብ ያስፈልገዋል፣ እርዳታ ይፈልገዋል። እስካሁንም ድረስ ብዙ ገንዘቦች ሬዝ አድርጓል። እነኚህን ገንዘቦች ለሎቢ ከፍሎታል፣ ለፐብሊክ ሪሌሽን ከፍቷል። በሙሉ በኢትዮጵያ ነው የዋለው በሙሉ አንድም ለሌላ ነገር የዋለ ነገር የለም። እና ብዙዎቹ ደግሞ የምንሰራው ሰዎች በቮለንቲር ከራሳችን ከኪሳችን ሁሉ እያወጣን ነው። ዋሽንግተን ስንሄድ በየቦታው ስንሄድ ከኪሳችን ያው እና አሁን ለማሳሰብ ፈልገው የኤፓክን ስራ ለመደገፍ የኢትዮጵያን ኢንትረስት ለማስጠበቅ ለኢትዮጵያ እንድንሟገት የምንሟገተው እንድንቀጥል ሜምበርሺፕ ያስፈልጋል፣ የፋይናንሻል ሰፖርት ያስፈልጋል። እና ኤፓክ የኛ የኢትዮጵያኖችን አንድ ላይ ሆነን በምንሰራበት ጊዜ ውጤታማ ስራ እንድንሰራ ያደረገ ድርጅት ነው። ደግሞ ትልቁ ነገር መሰጅ ለመናገር ፈልገው አንድ ስንሆን እንከበራለን። አንድ ሆነን እንደ በኤፓክ ስር ስንሰራ የበለጠ ሪስፔክት በፊት አልነበረም። እንደዛ ይሄ ታሪካዊ ነው። ይሄ የምታዩት ብሪፊንግ ከኮንግሬስ ጋር ያለው ሪሌሽንሽፕ በየሳምንቱ ከኮንግሬስ አባሎች ጋር ከሴኔት አባሎች ጋር እንነጋገራለን። በፊት የሌለ ነገር ለምንድን ነው? ስለተደራጀን ያከበሩን፣ ስለተደራጀን ነው እሱ የሚቀበሉን፣ የሚደውሉልን፣ ኢሜል የሚያደርጉልን ስለተደራጀን። ስለዚህ ከተደራጀን ራሳችን እናስከብራለን፣ ከተደራጀን ሀገራችን እናስከብራለን። የእኛን ኢንትረስት ደግሞ ኮንግሬስ፣ ዋሽንግተን ዲሲ ገቨርንመንት፣ ዩኤስ ገቨርንመንት ላይ ለማቅረብ እንችላለን። እና እነኚህ የተነገሩትን ነገሮችን ለማድረግ የሚያስችለን አንድ ስል ነው። ስለዚህ ግለሰቦችን፣ ድርጅቶችን በዚህ የምታምኑ ሰዎች እኛ በምንሰራው ስራ የምታምኑ ሰዎችን እጋብዛለሁ። አሁንም የምጠይቀው ባካችሁ ኤፓክን እርዱ፣ ባካችሁ ጆይን አድርጉ። ገንዘብ ብቻ ሳይሆን በችሎታችሁ፣ በአቅማችሁ፣ በኤክስፔሪንሳችሁ እንድትገቡና ኤፓክን እንድናጠናክር ለዛሬ ብቻ ሳይሆን ለሚቀጥለው ትውልድ ትልቁ ነገር ይሄ። የሚቀጥለው ትውልድ ደግሞ ኢትዮጵያን ኢንትረስት የሚያስጠብቅ ድርጅት እንዲሆን ወጣቶች ኢትዮጵያውያን በኮንግረስ እና በሴኔት እንዲመረጡ ኮንግረስ ሎካል እንዲመረጡና ልጆቻችንን የበለጠ ሪስፔክት እንዲያገኙ እንደ ሌሎቹ ምሳሌ እስራኤሎችን ብትመለከቱ እስራኤሊ ሎቢ፣ የኩባን ሎቢ፣ ሌሎች ሀገር ኤስታብሊሽ ናቸው፣ ይከበራሉ። የሀገራቸውን መንግስት ያከብራቸዋል፣ የአሜሪካ መንግስት ያከብራቸዋል። የእነሱ ኢንትረስት ሁል ጊዜ ይቀድማል። ይህን ለማድረግ አሁን መንገዱ ተከፍቶ ኤፓክ መንገዱን ከፍቶታል። ስለዚህ ጆይን አስ ፕሊዝ ጆይን አስ and let's work together for peace, for democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. እና እዚህ ላይ እንግዲህ እኔ አሁን የምጨምረው ምንድነው በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ወደዛ ስለወሰድከን እና አሁን እንጀምራለን ፋንድሬዚንጉን እና ይገባኛል በአሁኑ ጊዜ ብዙ ብር እንጠየቃለን በየቦታው። እኔ ሁሉ ሰው ነው የሚጠይቀኝ ኢትዮጵያ ምረዳው ነገሮች አሉኝ አይዲፒ ምን ረዳለን ሌላም ነገር ምን ረዳዋለ ግን ያስፈልጋል ይሄ ነገር ልክ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ትግል እንደሚደረገው አንዱ ትግል ደግሞ እዚህ ሀገር የሚደረገው ነው እና አሁን የውም እንዳለው ብሩ ያስፈልገናል በጣም ግሬትፉል እስካሁን ድረስ ለሰጣችሁን እና አሁን ምንድነው የምናሳያችሁ እኔና ኤልያስ እንትኑን እናሳያችኋለን እንዴት አድርጋችሁ ዶኔት ማድረግ እንደምትችሉ እንትን ኤፓክ ዌብሳይት ውስጥ ገብታችሁ እሱን እናሳያችኋለን ከዛ ሌላ ደግሞ ምንድነው እዚህ ስብሰባ ላይ ስንመጣ አኖኒመስ $5,000 ተሰጥቶኛል እና ማች በመጀመሪያ 15 ደቂቃ ውስጥ ማች ከተደረገ የ5,000 ብር ይሰጣችኋል ተብሏል ባካችሁን ያንን ብር ማች ለማድረግ ሞክሩ እና እንደማታሳፍሩን እንደምትረዱን እናምናለን because ኤፓክ የሁላችንም ነው ኦኬ እና ኤልያስ የት እንዴት እንደምናደርግ
ኦኬ
ዋካስ
ያ ደጊ ፖስት አድርጋለች ሎኬሽኑን የኤፓክን ሳይት የዶኔሽን ሳይትን ደግሞ ቻት ውስጥ ጨምሬዋለሁ መጀመሪያ ኤፓክ.org ሄዳችሁ እዚህ ሳይት በመሄድ ወደ ታች ስክሮል አድርጋችሁ ዶኔት ቱ ኤፓክ የሚል ኦፕሽን አለ ይሄ ምርጫ አለ ይሄንን ክሊክ በማድረግ ሁለት አማራጮች ይመጣሉ ይሄ ፔጅ ሲከፍት የመጀመሪያው ዶኔት ቱ ኤፓክ ነው ሁለተኛው ደግሞ ዶኔት ቱ ዌፍ ነው ግሪን ካርድ እና አሜሪካን ሲቲዝን የሆናችሁ ሰዎች በዶኔት ቱ ኤፓክ በሚለው ገብታችሁ ዶኔት ብታደርጉ ለካምፔን ፈንድ ለተለያዩ ነገሮች ለምንጠቀምባቸው ልንገለግልባቸው እንችላለን ይሄኛው ደግሞ ዶኔት ቱ ዌፍ የሚለው ይሄኛው ከአሜሪካ ውጭ ላሉ ሰዎች ወይም ግሪን ካርድ ወይም ሲቲዝንሺፕ ለሌላቸው ሰዎች ዶኔት ማድረግ ከፈለጋችሁ ይሄ ለፒአር ለተለያየ ነገር የምንጠቀምበት ፈንድ ነው ይሄኛው በኤሌክሽን ካምፔን ሩል ሬጉሌት የሚደረግ ነገር ስለሆነ አሜሪካን ሲቲዝን እና ግሪን ካርድ ያላችሁ ሰዎች እዚህ ውስጥ በመግባት ዶኔት ቱ ኤፓክ በሚለው ገብታችሁ ወደ ታች ስክሮል በማድረግ መንዝሊ ለምሳሌ ዶኔሽን እናደርጋለን የሚሉ ሰዎች ሰሌክት ዶኔት ማድረግ የምትፈልጉትን አማውንት ከዛ እዚህ ስር ሜክ ዲስ ዶኔሽን ኤቭሪ መንዝ በሚለው መርጣችሁ ከዛ ቀጥሎ የራሳችሁን ስማችሁ ለምሳሌ እንደዚህ አድርጌ አድራሻ ኢሜላችሁንና አድራሻችሁን ከሞላችሁ በኋላ ኢሜላችሁንና ስማችሁን ከሞላችሁ በኋላ የካርዳችሁን ኢንፎርሜሽን እስከ ኤክስፓይሬሽኑና ስሙ እስከነስሙ አድርጋችሁ እስከ ሲቢሲውን ጨምራችሁ ከዛ የቤት አድራሻችሁን በመሙላት ዶኔት ናው የሚለውን ክሊክ ብታደርጉ መንዝሊ ዶኔሽን አውቶማቲካሊ ይሆናል ይሄ ደግሞ ኦዲት እና ሬጉሌትድ የሆነ ነገር ነው on top of it አንድ ጊዜ one time donation አደርጋለሁ ለምትሉ ሰዎች የትኛውም አማውንት 250 የሚሆን 1000 የሚሆንም ወይንም ደግሞ ከስተም አማውንት እሰጣለሁ ለሚል ሰው ከስተም አማውንት ጋር ሄዶ የሚፈልገውን ለምሳሌ 500 ከሆነ 2000 ከሆነ ጨምራችሁ ይሄ one time ከሆነ ይሄንን ክሊክ አታድርጉ ከዛ ኢንፎርሜሽናችሁን በማስገባት ወደታች ወርዳችሁ ቅድም እንደተናገርኩት ያሉትን አማራጮች ከሞላችሁ በኋላ ዶኔት የሚለውን ክሊክ ብታደርጉ ዶኔሽኑ ቀጥታ ወደ ኤፓክ ይሄዳል እና ዋሲ I defer back to you
thank you ወደታች እንደገና ሂድ ሌላ ምንትን አለን
አማራጮች
በዛ ሌላ አማራጭ አለን አንደኛው ምንድነው በባንክ ዋየርን መክፈል ትችላላችሁ የባንክ ዋየሩ ይሄው እሱንም እንትን ውስጥ እንጨምሩት ቻት ውስጥ እንጨምርላችኋለን PNC ባንክ የአሜሪካን ኢትዮጵያን ፐብሊክ አፌርስ ኮሚቴ አካውንት ነምበር ይሄ ብላችሁ ራውቲንግ ነምበሩ አለ በዛ ቼክ መላክ ትችላላችሁ እንትን ራውት ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ ሶስተኛው ደግሞ የቼክ ኦፕሽን አለ እሱን ደግሞ አድራሻው ይሄና እዚህ ላው ፈርም እዛ ነው ቀጥታ ብሩ የሚሄደው ባለድ SPA ቻር ላው ፈርም LLP ወደዛ ቼኩን መጻፍ ትችላላችሁ ትንሽ just hold on the ሰው በእጁ የሚጽፈው ከሆነ ቻትስም አለ ግን people sometimes like to see it እና እንደሱ ብታደርጉ በጣም ደስ ይለናል አሁንም ደግሞ ብትነግሩን እኛን ያበረታታናል ይሄን ያህል ዶኔት አድርጌያለሁኝ የሚል ሰው ቢኖር ቻት ውስጥ ብትጨምሩልን በጣም ደስ ይለናል ሌላውንም ኢንካሬጅ ያደርጋል ያበረታታል ብር ለመስጠት እና እኔ ነግራቸዋለሁ እኔ I'm a big donor of AEPAC ግን ዶኔት ባደረኩ ቁጥር እኔ ራሴ እየበዛልኝ ነው ያለው ለሚሰጥ ይሰጠዋል የሚባለው ነገር really it's prove እየተደረገልን ነው እና እንትን ሄዚቴት አታድርጉ ለጥሩ ኮዝ ነው እና ሁላችንም ለዚህ ዶኔት ብናደርግ ደስ ይለኛል እና አሁን ደግሞ ስትናገሩ እየጻፍን አናውንስ እናደርጋለን። ስማችሁ እንዲነገር ካልፈለጋችሁ ትነግሩን ትችላላችሁ። ስማችሁንም ብትሰጡን ስማችሁን አናውንስ እናደርጋለን። እና ፕሊዝ just donate. You can donate also. እየተነጋገርንም ሌሎች ስፒከሮችም እንትን እያሉ ዶኔት ማድረግና መስጠት ትችላላችሁ። ኦኬ
ኢንተርኔት እዚህ ውስጥ ነበር።
ማን ነው? ኦኬ ስለዚህ ሚውት ማድረግ አለብን እና
አስትራሊያ ያደርጋሉ እሱን።
ኦኬ እና I think ኦኬ አሁን ያው thank you ከዮም ሄነ ኮኔ ብያቸው የለ ፊላንትሮፒስት ነው ብያለሁ። የምን $1,000 ከዮም መጥቷል እና ያ አንድ ለዛች ለ5,000 ብሬ ማች 4,000 ቀረኛል። ባካችሁን እንግዲህ ተረዳታችሁን ቢሆን እዛ ላይ እንትን ፕሌጅ ብታደርጉ በጣም በጣም ደስ ይለናል እና thank you ዮም ቻት ውስጥም ጨምሩ። ማን ተዋወቅ ከሆነ ስልካችሁንም አብራችሁ ጨምሩ በኋላ ፎሎ አፕ እንድናደርግና እንድናገኛችሁ። ኦኬ እና እናመሰግናለን። አሁን let's go to our next speaker. oh no ሌላ መጣ። ትንሽ ሊንገር ላርግ መሰለኝ።
ትንሽ ጠብቂ።
ተገበየው ተፈሪ $1,000 that's wonderful። እና አሁን 3,000 ነው የሚቀረኝ ማለት ነው። በጣም መስፍን 2,500 oh my god I am in 7th heaven። በኃይል ደስ ይላል። ጥላሁን እጅህን አውጥተሃል በቻት
ያ እኔ ያዋጣበት ምክንያት ትንሽ አንድ ሁለት ቃል ለመናገር ፈልጌ ነው።
እሺ
በተለይ ምርጫን በሚመለከት እያንዳንዱ ኢትዮጵያዊ ለኢፓክ ብቻ ሳይሆን እዚህ ሀገር ለመኖር ራሱ ምን ያህል ጥቅም እንዳለው ለማሳወቅ እፈልጋለሁ። ለሎካል ኦፊስ ለሜር ለተለያየ ነገር ሁሉ ራን አድርጎ ኢትዮጵያኖች መኖራቸውና አንተርፕረነር መሆናቸውን ያሳውቃል። ስለዚህ ይሄ በጣም 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 ኢምፖርታንት ነው። ለኢፓክ እንትን ተብሎ መራጭ መሆን ቮት ማድረግ የሚችል መሆኑንና ትልቅ ኢምፓክት ሊኖረው እንደሚችል ሁላችንም እንወቅ። እኔ ደግሞ 1,000 ብር ዶኔት አደርጋለሁ።
thank you በጣም እናመሰግናለን። የመጀመሪያው 5,000 ሊሞላ ነው። በጣም ጥሩ ነው። ከዛም በላይ እየጠበቅን ነው። አይ ነው ዛሬ ማን ዲስአፖይንት እንደማታደርጉን የታወቀ ነው እና አሁን I think we can go to our next speaker. One second.
ዋሲ አብዲ ጆይን አድርጓል። ሶ አንሚት ላደርገው እችላለሁ። ዋሲ አብዲ ከሰማኝ
good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, just one second.
Okay.
Hi, Abdi. We already introduced you. We did a wonderful introduction. I won't take your time. But the other people, I just want to tell you, go to our website and donate directly on the website if you can. I mean, some of you can tell us. I mean, you can tell us what you pledge, but please go directly to the website that we showed you. And Elias, put the website in there again. Whoever's Dagi just did that. Thank you, Abdi. Very happy to have you here. You're just in time, and so you have the floor now.
Thank you, Wasi. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Salam, brothers and sisters. And thanks for Mesfin for inviting me to speak.
Sorry, we can't see you. I'm sorry. Can you show? Oh, yeah, there you are. Okay, go ahead. Now we see you. Go ahead.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And before I start, I wanted also to really encourage everyone that's on Zoom how important it is to support organizations such as AEPAC, because, to put it in simple terms, in this country, if you don't tell people your problems, nothing gets done. There is a Somali proverb which says, even babies, if they don't cry, their mother won't feed them. So it's the same way here. You guys are doing a great job. Every effort here, it takes effort, it takes money, it takes resources, and it's very important to support organizations such as AEPAC to make a difference. My name is Abdi Mahmoud, as I've been told, and as you guys have heard, and I'm the executive director of the Horn of Africa, president and CEO. It's a nonprofit organization that primarily works with people from the Horn of Africa, all these countries, and we're a 28-year-old organization. We're in Southern California. We work on basically getting the community to be self-sufficient. And in addition, in about 2005, we started doing some work around advocacy because of the atrocious things that were going on back home with the previous government and what they were doing. And at that time, we were really alone. There wasn't a lot of other advocacy organizations. And then we found out about 2015, 14, we started getting some Amhara and Oromo groups, to join. And that had a collective impact because at the end, all of our effort worked. It contributed, to that regime being gone. And so that with that being said, in my experience in advocacy, it has become very apparent that it's always more fruitful to work together than doing piecemeals, because in the past, the problem that we had is we have all these groups and they're all delivering different messages. And it's if you don't have a unified message that's consistent, it's hard for people to even know what you want. So with our experience, we were able to say, hey, instead of everyone trying to do their own thing, how come we don't bring all of these groups together, all the diaspora groups together? And when we started that process, I was introduced to Mesfin. We've gotten to know each other. We regularly talk. We update each other. And it's about the only way we can have a large voice is the more we collectively work together. And so in July we brought about 4. We started out with the 4 main groups, tried to get them together. The Amharas, the Oromos, Tigrays, Somalis. We held a very successful large conference in San Diego, where Ambassador Hammer and his team, they came. Sarah Jacobs, the ranking member on the Africa subcommittee, she was also a keynote speaker. And then in the second day, we all got together and say, let's come out with points of agreement that we can take it to the United States government and say, we, the diaspora, these are all the points that we agreed upon. And this was the first start. It was a bold and ambitious goal. And at that time, the Amhara representatives they were not there yet. So at the end, they say we can be part of it, but at least the other 3 got together and we produced like 13 points. Okay, so even then we still had a very good working relationship with the Amhara Association of America. So again, in September of 2028, about I guess roughly a little bit a month ago, we requested the State Department to give us a briefing on what Ambassador Hammer's trip came about. And then we've had everyone invited. And now not only those 4 groups, then Hararis came, Amfaris came, I think Sidamas had one guy representative, and then obviously people from Addis. So we were even a larger group. Then we said, okay, all of these groups, they were like 8 from different places. Let's come together and issue a statement of where we are. And at that time, we came up with, after several days of negotiation, we came with 7 points that we all agreed upon, which included, if I just give a brief, overview, holding people accountable, stopping the government's war in basically all Amhara region and some part of Oromia, stop the theft of all these food aid, hold people, and what about mass corruption in the PP-led government? And then the State Department, because we all collectively came together, we put out a tweet, then they fully endorsed it. And that got a huge explosive awareness where even Addis Standard picked it up. So with having that impact, and the only way we can do more is if we all put our hands together, and people like obviously Mesfin Tegenu was very instrumental. He was very supportive. He was contributing, brought up a lot of good ideas, and many times we sent each other a lot of chats and encouraging, gave me a lot of encouragement to keep what I'm doing. And in the future, what's our vision? Our vision is a democratic, peaceful, Ethiopia that is tolerant of all these ethnicities, that is united and democratic, and at least we can get our people out of poverty and not have these military governments that continuously ruin our people's lives. And so we want a better Ethiopia for all, because we can all move together. It's the only way to move forward. That's our vision, and we look forward working with AEPAC, and I appreciate the opportunity today.
Thank you, Abdi. Thank you for your profound message. That is what we are all looking for, a united democratic Ethiopia where we can all live together, where our borders are porous and one person can live in this side of Ethiopia as the other side of Ethiopia, and not divided through tribalism and ethnicity, which seems to be what's being pushed. But this is good. And that's what AEPAC wants to do. We want to continue to speak to all that have a pro-Ethiopia peace agenda. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, sister.
Yes, Wasi, if I make a comment on what Abdi is doing, it is one of those projects where we all aspire to do. We have been, when AEPAC was formed, we formed AEPAC as an umbrella organization for all Ethiopian groups to come together as one nation, one people. And most recently with a meeting at Democracy and Human Rights and Justice at the State Department, we have been able to get them to say that dictators like to separate people by ethnicity, by race, by different categories, and so the message was a united diaspora is valuable for us. United diaspora is useful for the purpose of doing work at the either executive level or legislative level. Both parties would like to see a united, meaningfully coordinated diaspora that actually has a message that's concise and in sync with each other. And that's exactly what the team Abdi put together did. It covers all the people from across different parts of Ethiopia. All the regions were represented, and there was unanimous agreement to do what he proposed to do, which is consistent to what AEPAC requested the legislators to do at this hearing. So the message is in sync. That's message at State Department. That's the message at the Democracy and Justice, and the message at the U.S. the hearings on October 17 was in sync, and it's clear, it's consistent, it's the same. So, Abdi, I would like to commend you for continuing to do this, and we like to continue to have the Ethiopians of all, from all kinds of the country, all ethnic backgrounds, groups, whatever new names that the nation is given these days. Everybody comes together for the good of the nation. We are convinced that only then there will be a nation that's worked for everybody. Otherwise, every single one of us will be losers. Yes. And thank you.
Thank you, Mesfin, and thank you, Wasi, and I look forward to working with you guys and keep up the great work, because with collective voice, and if we hold each other's hands, that's it's very simple. Together we can do more.
Yeah, thank you for your message of hope. Seriously, thank you so much.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So with this, we go to our keynote speakers. We have two very magnificent keynote speakers. The first one is Nabiyu, and the next.
ሚውት አልነበረም ይበላል
You're okay. You're unmuted. We're hearing you, Nabiyu Asfal. And after that, it's going to be Jeff Pierce. I just want to introduce Nabiyu just a little bit. He didn't give me much, but he is a human rights advocate, and he's based in Denver, Colorado. He's a member of EADC and holds the position of chairman at AEPAC's Colorado chapter. He's also a member of AEPAC Central Committee for Policy Advocacy. And also Nabiyu is a humanitarian. Somebody's talking. Can you mute? Can you mute them? Mano mute Miarago, please. Yeah, can you mute them? So with this, I'd like to invite Nabiyu who's going to talk to us about Diaspora United. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Ade. Ade Makonnen donated $200. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Nabiyu.
Thank you, Wasi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Elias, I don't have a presentation. I'm just going to talk so you can remove the PowerPoint. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and welcome everyone. I'm just going to talk a little bit about our community, AEPAC, and our unity. I think we all know Ethiopians, we're not a new immigrant group. We've been en masse, started coming to America in the 1970s, and that's over half a century of history in America. And the American Ethiopian community has been a vibrant and integral part of the United States. And now with a population exceeding 1 million strong and spanning 3 generations, we have left a recognizable mark on this great nation. Our culture, our music, arts, and especially our food, our cuisine has become integral part of the American melting pot. And our community's achievements in education, business, science, and the arts have been remarkable, contributing significantly to the economic landscape and exemplifying our community as model citizens. We've come a long way, but our journey is far from over. So in recent years, our community has taken the bold step forward by actively engaging in civic life and American politics. We've become influential swing voters in many places, making substantial impact on close elections. It's in this context that we're gathering you to keep this momentum that AEPAC has started. Now, AEPAC, as Mesfin mentioned earlier, the culmination of partner organizations from across the nation, united under a single banner to amplify our collective voice and exercise the rights afforded to us by our American citizenship. With over 18 chapters, including one right here in Colorado, AEPAC has been instrumental in local and federal elections, supporting candidates who are pro-Ethiopia and who align with our values. So the importance of unity under the AEPAC banner cannot be overstated. It magnifies our impact and grants us access to greater resources that we've never imagined before. As an example, in 2022, in the congressional election, AEPAC endorsed a whopping 35 pro-Ethiopia candidates to the United States Congress. An incredible 91% of them won. 91%. This is a testament to the tremendous potential we hold as a community. And AEPAC is unique in its bipartisan engagement, building relationships with both major American political parties, enhancing our influence, and ensuring we have a voice on both sides of the aisle. And our success in Congress has enabled us to advocate for our communities here and also our motherland, homeland of Ethiopia. As relatively new Americans, we're just beginning our journey. And the potential is limitless as long as we continue to prioritize unity and solidarity. Those are the key foundations for us as a collective community to succeed: unity and solidarity. Our journey extends now beyond American politics. We are, as AEPAC, first and foremost pan-Ethiopians, transcending ethnic and religious divides. We stand united for human rights, justice, and economic development, both in the United States and in Ethiopia, benefiting our people. And we're recognizing the significant role the United States plays in global politics. We consistently advocate for policies that are pro-Ethiopian people. And Ethiopia, with 120 million people, it ranks as the second largest in Africa and the 12th largest in the world. So it plays a critical role both in African and global politics. Therefore, our advocacy seeks a win-win solution, advocating for peace, standing with the people, not any political party, not a government, or any tribal affiliation. That's why we emphasize pan-Ethiopianism, because we believe that transcending beyond tribalism is what will continue to hold Ethiopia together. And when it comes to tribalism, it's a dangerous journey into our darkest inclination. But it is a battle that we can overcome. In this last 5 years, we have witnessed the heart-wrenching transformation of a collective mind torn apart by the poison of tribalism. We've seen how brutal it can get. We've seen how what region someone comes from, or what tribe they come from, what place of village or birthplace they were born in has become the unfortunate mark that has costed the lives of thousands of innocent souls. How did we go from this peaceful coexistence for centuries with our fellow citizens to engage in this mass murders of people who share our land, our history, and often much of our culture? This is the tragic question we must confront collectively. It's easy to point fingers and to blame historical grievances or political situations, but the real truth is that tribalism feeds on our fear, it feeds on our ignorance, and it feeds on our division. It preys on our insecurities, and it magnifies our differences while minimizing our shared humanity. The answer to this crisis lies within us, within our hearts and minds. So we must recognize that the ties that bind us together as Ethiopians is far stronger than the artificial division sown to us by tribalism and the system in place that has institutionalized it. The reality is that we are one people with a rich history, a shared destiny, and a common humanity. And to overcome this tribalism, we must rise to the moment. We must embrace the values of unity and diversity, fostering an understanding that our differences are our strength, not our weaknesses. We must learn to celebrate the beauty of our varied cultures, all 80 plus of them, while standing together as one nation, one diverse, equitable nation. We must open our hearts and engage in conversations to bring about a new Ethiopia that looks at our people beyond what tribe they are, beyond what region they come from, beyond what language they speak. We must bridge the divides, seeking a common ground and mutual understanding. It is only through this collective effort and empathy that we can heal the wounds inflicted by tribalism and this brutal system and power that has institutionalized it. Together, we can overcome this. We can rewrite the story of our nation, one where unity, tolerance, and peace prevail. So we call upon you. Let's stand against the forces that seek to tear us apart. For in unity, we find our true strength and the path to a brighter future. So we must also recognize the urgent need to speak up when people are targeted for their ethnicities, when they endure violence, when their homes are demolished. We have witnessed within the past 2 years alone, the tragic death of over 1 million and the displacement of over 4 million of our fellow Ethiopians. And this is a moment that demands our collective voice. It's imperative to understand that advocating for justice knows no boundaries. It knows no ethnicity.
You're muted, Neb. You muted yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have to be a particular race or background to raise our voices. For those who are suffering, what truly matters is our shared humanity. You don't have to be an Amhara to stand for the rights of Amhara. I don't have to be a Somali to speak for the rights of the Somali people. We don't have to be Oromo, Afar, Gambela, Tigray, Gurage to advocate for the injustices this communities face under a brutal ethnic system that has institutionalized division. When one is attacked, we're all attacked. When one needs a voice, we all must become that voice. This is the kind of solidarity that is needed to build a new Ethiopia that treats all her citizens with equity and justice. Our common ground is our humanity, our sense of justice, and our shared history, and our compassion for the victims of a cruel system. So we must have the courage to speak up for every victim, to shine a light on their suffering, and to say enough to a system that has ravaged and divided Ethiopia for 33 years. Remember that silence in the face of injustice is no longer an option. We must raise our voice, bring attention to these grave issues, and stand united as one people against the forces that seek to tear us apart. Our strength lies in our unity. Ethiopia's strength lies in its diversity, in its diverse culture and people, and our shared values. So I ask you to be the change makers, the advocates for justice, and the champions for unity. It's not just about the victims of today, but also about the generations to come who deserve a better and more peaceful and just Ethiopia. So we must confront this harsh reality, a reality that we as Ethiopians must acknowledge with unwavering determination. The Ethiopian ethnic political system of the past 3 decades has divided us, pitted us against one another, shattered the very fabric of what it means to be an Ethiopian. This divisive system categorizes us not as individuals, not as citizens, but solely as an ethnicity. It has forced even some of the most Ethiopianists to organize along ethnic lines to defend against unspeakable atrocities that have been unleashed on them. It's a system that does not see humanity. It's a system that does not see people. It only sees ethnicity. And this requires us to overcome that fear that has enabled this system, that we've witnessed some of the worst atrocities in history. In history, from the slaughtering of innocent babies, pregnant women, the lynching of people, the burning of people alive. These crimes are happening today in Ethiopia. This horrifying reality, it should jolt our collective consciousness, and we must arise and say enough. The structure that perpetuates the suffering must end before it ends Ethiopia. We must unite, transcend the artificial divisions imposed upon us. We must redefine what it means to be Ethiopian, recognize that our strength lies in our diversity and shared values. In conclusion, my fellow Ethiopians, we stand at a crossroads in our nation's history. We've seen the devastating impact of the system that has torn us apart, where fear and division have wreaked havoc on our land. But we must remember that power to change our destiny lies within us. We are architects of a brighter Ethiopia, a nation where unity, diversity, and shared values can prevail. we can redefine what it means to be Ethiopian, transcending our ethnic divisions and embracing our shared humanity. So as we confront this dark aspect of our past, we must also acknowledge the resilient spirit of our people. We have, throughout history, faced unimaginable challenges, but yet we endured. We always endured. We rebuilt, and we strive for a better future. And now I call upon you to take action. Support organizations like AEPAC that preach pan-Ethiopianism, that have dedicated themselves to advocating for our communities, bridging the divides, working towards a united Ethiopia. Every single one of you, your involvement can make a huge difference. Whether you're of Ethiopian descent or our friends of Americans, Canadians, everyone, our allies, your voice matters. Get involved and check if there is an AEPAC chapter in your state. If one does not exist, be the trailblazer and start one. Reach out to us. We'll help you. Let's expand our effort. Let us also be proud of our vision to engage the younger generation. In some states, that's already bearing fruit. Our youth, they hold the promise of tomorrow, even more important than us. So in our collective journey to a brighter future, I emphasize, let's remember that unity is not just a dream, it's a responsibility. And together we can dismantle this divisive system that has plagued our nation, and we can rebuild together an Ethiopia where the bonds of citizenship, respect, and understanding are unbreakable. Thank you. Let us be the change makers, the advocates for justice, and the champions for unity that Ethiopia deserves. We can reshape our nation's destiny, and we can rebuild a future that all Ethiopians can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Neb. This was really very inspiring. I mean, just feel like jumping up, and yes, that's what we have to do. But before we go to Jeff Pierce, who's our next keynote speaker, I would like to invite Ali from the Afar community to say a few words. I'll give him about 3 minutes for that. And Nabiyu, people have been saying that they are also listening in Ethiopia and they want some of this in Amharic. So at the end, you will do the closing remarks in Amharic, at least a summarized version of what you just did right now. So be prepared, okay? Thank you, Ishi. Ali, welcome. You have the floor.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Afar people and Ethiopian people. But I would like to emphasize before I continue, you said that you're gonna give me say a few words and 3 minutes.
Yes. Well, because we didn't plan.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
I think you can find anyone who believe and who cherish Ethiopiaዊነት than Afar people.
Of course.
And most of the time we have, and we need the rest of Ethiopia people to be inclusive. When we talk about Afar, for most Ethiopian government of Ethiopian people is port of Asab and the corridor who go from Asab to Addis or from Djibouti to Addis. That must be changed. There is more than that.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the Afar people, like you guys know, we're a little bit different than I believe, in any other ethnic group. It would be very hard to talk about unity and Ethiopiaዊነት after Nabiyu, but everything had been said. I would say like Nabiyu, but I would say a few words. The Afar people live in a 3 countries, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Eritrea. We don't claim to be Ethiopian just by word statements. What we give our blood and our precious life to defend this nation, historically, even in the last war between Tigray region and Ethiopian government. When we come to unity, when we come to bringing people together, That's who we are. That's what we do already. I think we're a little bit ahead of other people when we come to unity, believing in humanity above all. We have a culture. We have a culture we established over 1,000 years ago. Any Ethiopian can live, prosper peacefully in the Afar regional state. It's the only region as we speak, any Ethiopian can live, do business without a fear. No mosque, no church had been burned. Even during the height of the civil war, no one single non-Afar was murdered or killed for retaliation while we're receiving bomb from Tigray region. And we had a large Tigray community living among Afar and was protected not by the government, federal government, not by Afar regional government, by our culture. Our cultural belief that was protected. Of course, Ethiopia at the crossroad. My question is, what is Ethiopia we need? What unites us? Coffee, chat, or injera? Because we need to have a common purpose. It's about time to focus what unites us more than what we divide us. Above all, the solution has to come within us. We must deserve not only government of Ethiopia or FANO or TPLF, but the diaspora. In the diaspora, are we united? No. In the last meeting that I participated in DC, was only two of us, an AEPAC representative of Mesfin and the Afar delegation who was talking about unity, bringing people together. Everyone is still in his position, you know, with his AK-47 or whatever word. How are we going to be able to change that? The Afar people, we want to be the agents of hope, the agent of change. We like to be the bridge between community in Ethiopia and build a better future for our children and our grandchildren. We have what we take. We've been living together side by side for a century. We didn't have a problem. But the reality in the ground today, ethnic federal system, that's what we have. Like Donald Marshall said, this is not the army we wish to have, but the army we have. But this is the system we have, rather than the system we wish to.
You've muted yourself, Ali. Unmute yourself, Ali. We can't hear you. Unmute yourself. You're mute. We cannot hear you. Unmute yourself. Elias, can you unmute him? Can someone unmute him? Yeah.
Hello?
We couldn't hear you. You were muted. So
hello?
And now we can hear you. We can hear you now.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you like for half a minute. You're good now.
You're good now.
Yeah, you can turn your camera and continue.
Turn the camera on. We've given you. You can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Continue.
And you see, more than 3 minutes, you can have what you need. I'm okay with that.
But the thing is, I want the Ethiopian people know what we going through for the last 100 years plus. We're the only region who's attacked by the foreign government. And I want the AEPAC and the rest of Ethiopian people to help and work together to improve security in Afar region and beyond. We must put humanity before ethnicity. Like I said, we are ready to work with you guys, with the rest of other Ethiopian, diaspora. But we'd like to be invited when something happens, like a hearing meeting in the 17th of October. We were not aware, we're not invited. Having said that, this is the past. You can count on us to build a better Ethiopia, to reach the hope. Recently, Abiy Ahmed talked about the Red Sea. The Afar, like I said earlier, we live in Ethiopia and Djibouti and Eritrea. The Baman Medal, both sides are Afar. I think we can build not only better Ethiopia, but better Horn of Africa, where we're going to be able to go from Asmara to Addis, from Addis to Mogadishu, from Mogadishu to Khartoum, from Khartoum to Djibouti. And I do believe in that. Let's work on the hope and improve the life of our people. I am on board as well, the Afar people. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you guys all, and God bless Ethiopia.
Thank you
Let me say a couple of things.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Ali, we always appreciate your hard work, your contribution to this united effort that we all try to accomplish in making things right in Ethiopia. As far as the October 17 hearing was concerned, we actually did not organize it. We didn't call a bigger group. We just wanted to, that was a briefing of issues. There was no intention to exclude you or anyone else. Just to be clear that, yeah, we always appreciate your input, and I know we have we have received several of them in the past, and you are a patriot Ethiopian, and we are very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes, and definitely we will, next time we have any event like this, definitely, we will invite you. And, we also have to go through a learning process of how we're doing things also, and it's just wonderful. And I'm very glad that you're here today, and, we'll work together in the future. That's something we're all waiting for. This is just formidable, wonderful. Thank you. We've had, now we come to Jeff Pierce, but before I get there, we've collected about $8,700 so far. Yom 1,000, Gabayo 1,000, Mesfin 250, Talahun 1,000, Lili Mitchell 200, Ade Makonnen 200, Yared 100, Tafari Charana 2, Niami 200, Abek Elish 100, and then Yirgu Walde 1,000, yeah, and then it says 8,700, so I don't know who the others. So thank you, but like I said, just go ahead on into our website. Abek Elish did that. She took a picture and showed it to us. Thank you, Abek Elish, and thank you, everyone. So now our keynote, the one who we've been waiting for with a lot of excitement, is Jeff Pierce. It's always hard to introduce Jeff Pierce. Sometimes he tells me he was born a child, and sometimes he says he had false starts in life. But what we do know about Jeff is a very prolific author and writer, and a very, just an incredible friend of Ethiopia and Ethiopians. And his book, Prevail, is just really a landmark book on Ethiopia, and especially, I say not just for the younger generation, Jeff, it's also for the older generation. A lot of us do not know our history, and you write it and you told it, like the history that our parents, our mothers, our grandparents tell us. So that's incredible. And of course, his last book, The Gifts of Africa, at least that I know of, I know he's writing another book. There's it's about the legacy of Africa to the West. And I just want to quote this thing before I let him speak. It says, "The West will begin to understand Africa when it realizes it is not talking to a child. It is talking to its mother." I love that, Jeff. That is wonderful. And with this, you have the platform.
Okay. Thanks, Mossy. Elias, if you're there, if you can just stand by and be ready to cue the video. I don't know where you are on the thing, but if you can have it ready. Is he there? You're there.
I'm here.
Okay, fantastic. I just have a couple of remarks, and then I'm just going to go. I prepared a video for you guys. I was up till 5 o'clock finishing it. So if you don't like it, I'll just slink away and die. But to the point, very quickly before I say something, I went to Afar. I saw what the TPLF did to the Afar people. I saw a mosque desecrated. I saw a IDP camp with Jamal Countess, which had 60,000 people at the time. I saw the heroism and the stoicism of the Afar people. Yes, they certainly deserve a voice at every event. And you've got a friend in myself and others who covered the war. Just to get into what I'm going to present to you, I didn't come on here just to talk to just Ethiopians and diaspora folks. I'm hoping that some Westerners are tuning in because this is really for them. It's been a hard few weeks for those of us who care about Ethiopia because whatever side you may land on over Gaza and Israel, I think it's the height of hypocrisy that the United States is backing its ally, and it's free to back its ally after a terrorist attack. But when Ethiopia needed support from the Biden White House, it was given the typical both sides crap, and then it became obvious that it supported the TPLF. And as we mark this anniversary which you know what I'm talking about. You still have folks rewriting history. Martin Plaut would tweet and speak out justifying the TPLF attack on November 3rd, claiming, oh, they were planning to attack, so that's why they launched a preemptive attack. And they just did an interview where he claims Ethiopia attacked Tigray that night. What are you going to do? And now the situation is dire back in the homeland, the place where humanity was born, except now it seems to be a place where, under the Abiy government, humanity as a quality will just die in darkness. And you heard the man say it. There's Nebu, and I thought, my God, I got to follow him. There he is. He said, you know, you don't have to be Amhara to advocate for Amhara over the injustices. You know, think of the old Three Musketeers motto, all for one for all. The war was a time of one for all, but now we're rapidly moving to a time of all for one, which will save us all. The media gave blonde, blue-eyed victims in Ukraine their time. Innocent Palestinians are now getting their time. But it took 75 years for white Westerners to care about Arab children. No offense, but the Amhara people can't wait for when the West finally gives a damn about Black African children. And if you're a Westerner watching this, you need to be properly informed on what this struggle is all about. So I prepared this video for you. And Elias, I'm just going to mute myself, and you, hopefully people will mute themselves as well so you can hear the audio. And if you can just let it run now, please. Thanks.
Yeah, so Jeff, I might ask you to share your screen if this doesn't work, but let me give it a shot first.
Are you going to try it first, Elias, or are you just going to let him do it?
Yeah. What's up? Okay.
Let's I'll do it.
Hold on. You can't hear it? Let me know.
No, can't see it. Oh, can't see it.
Elias, I tell you.
Hello, I'm Jeff Pierce. You can't see it.
Okay.
You can't see it. Stop.
Elias,
You can't see it.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Can you pause, please, and run it back? Can you please pause it and run it back?
Yes.
Are you able to see it now?
No. Can you?
So go back. Go back to the beginning. Hold on. Go back to the beginning. Who's showing? Is it Elias or is it Nabiyu? Who's going to do
I was going to show it, but I stopped. I can let me do it, Elias. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you run it to the back to the beginning, please?
Yeah.
Thanks. There you go.
Hello, I'm Jeff Pierce, and it's Toronto, and it's November 2023, and I've got a message here for Westerners, for Western reporters, Western policymakers. It's simple. You can't examine a conflict with historical roots unless you're actually bothering to examine the proper history. And this ain't it. Even in discussing what's happening in the Amhara region today, you have Western reporters repeating nonsense that there was an Amhara-dominated Abyssinian empire. First of all, there never was an Abyssinia. Ethiopia never called itself that. The term is a European corruption of a name for a group of people in the north, Habashat. And all the way back in the 4th century, King Ezana of Axum corrected an official document in Greek using the term Habashat with Ethiopia. So who are the Amhara people? If we look to the ancient language of Ge'ez, Am means people, while Hera means free. And if you do your homework, you learn that, as scholar Tadesse Tamrat points out, by the 10th century, the population of southern Tigray also included Amhara, and at this stage of the history of the kingdom, the main difference between these people was perhaps only linguistic. This is what you need to understand. Ethiopia is a product of its different peoples, working collaboratively as much as they competed against each other. Ethiopia's first great empire was a kingdom of Axum, but this doesn't mean it was Tigrayan. It covered a far wider area than Tigray, and even the word for the town, Axum, is partly rooted in the Agaw language. In their tongue, meant water, while the Semitic word Sium meant chief. The dynasty that followed the Axumites was the Zagwe of the Agaw people, and there's archaeological evidence that the oldest parts of rock-hewn churches in Lasta date from the tail end of the Axumite period in the 7th and 8th centuries. Lalibela, for instance, is a product of King Lalibela of the Zagwe dynasty. Now, I can't go through 3,000 years of Ethiopian history here, but the bottom line is that there was no Amhara domination. Never happened. Part of the misunderstanding of these issues involved is that idiots, and by idiots I mean certain reporters, like to arbitrarily go, oh, let's mention Ethiopian history from here, the mid-19th century. Tell me something. Do you think you can understand America by rolling back the date to 1889? Does that give you enough context to understand American affairs? So, why would you think that you can understand Africa if you just arbitrarily peg the date to the 19th century? The biggest influences on Ethiopian history since ancient times, right up to the turn of the 20th century, were crown and church. In fact, the very root of this conflict doesn't start from the era of Emperor Menelik II, it goes back to the 16th century. The short version is this. In the 1500s, a fanatic nicknamed Grand, the left-handed, who was probably ethnic Somali, led a Muslim invasion out of the Adal Sultanate into Ethiopia, with Muslims who didn't even really want to invade Ethiopia, but who shrugged and went, okay, fine, we'll go, Grand. And they nearly wiped it out, making Emperor Lebna Dengel into a refugee in his own land. His son Galadeus managed to beat back the invaders with a little Portuguese help, but this war left the southern territories vulnerable to a whole new invasion, what's often referred to as the Oromo migration. But here's the twist, and this is important. The Oromos divided into different groups over the centuries. Some followed Gada, a traditional system with semi-democratic values, while others had kings and queens, and you had two-way cultural assimilation and cooperation with Ethiopia of that time. You had a prince in his teens kidnapped by a group of Boran Oromo, but they liked the kid and taught him their ways. Then, Susannios used those skills to become emperor, and he understood the Oromos so well that he used a strategy of containment and control, allying himself with some groups while brutally putting down others. It was a brutal era, in which, by the way, Oromos made another people, the Gafet, extinct. By the 1750s, a boy named Eoas was on the throne. His first language was Oromo, but his grandma, who was the empress, was very into power games, and she invited down Mikhail Sahul, who looks here like Ethiopia's version of Mr. Burns, a Tigrayan noble who soon took over as virtual dictator. The whole story involves one sniper assassination attempt, another by two incompetent Garagi assassins, his assassination of two different emperors, a civil war, and the whole thing makes Game of Thrones look like a church picnic. Finally, it took a coalition of different ethnicities, including about 1,000 Tigrayans, to get rid of this guy. Even when you get to the famous Zemena Mesfin, the era of the princes, you had the central power run for some 80 years by the Yejud dynasty, or to be more accurate, led by Oromo who gravitated to the Orthodox Church and Amhara customs. And historians still argue over who ran the show, if anyone cared who was emperor around then, but one of the country's greatest historians, Baru Zuda, has made the point that Gondar was where the action was, so the regional lords intended to dominate the center, not to go away from it. All this time, Amharic was the lingua franca of the nation. It was a Tigrayan emperor, Johannes IV, who later made Amharic Ethiopia's national language. Even Asfo Wosen Asarate, the most senior member of the surviving royal family and who knew the man personally, says his great-uncle Haile Selassie was of mixed heritage. So, where was this Amhara domination? Now, this isn't to say that there weren't ethnic tensions, but these were exacerbated by conditions in the modern era starting from around the 20th century, including from foreign influence. The fascist Italians who invaded Ethiopia in 1935 tried a divide and rule approach that didn't work out very well for them. When the liberation came in 1941, it was different groups of Ethiopian patriots, Arbanoch, working together with British help and colonial Africans and Indians to help free the country. Jagamakelo, for instance, was ethnic Oromo and ended up a senior officer in Haile Selassie's army. He was a war hero. If we have to pinpoint where the real trouble started, it was in the 1960s. American and European professors with a Marxist take on things, playing white savior, came to teach in Ethiopia and made an impression on their students. This isn't just me saying this, it's documented. Also, what's widely overlooked is that you had ethnic separatist movements going on around the world. Basques in Spain, the FLQ terrorist group in Canada, the Biafran struggle in the Nigerian Civil War. Of course, there were radical Ethiopians paying attention. Then along came a student activist named Wolalim Makonnen, who gave a speech and wrote an article claiming Ethiopia is not really one nation, it is made up of a dozen nationalities. He didn't back this up with anything like facts or references, mind you, but Wolalim is a hero to ethno-nationalists, and his toxic ideas even made it into the constitution written up by the TPLF decades later. But a couple of points to remember about this guy who concocted this idea about Amhara being dominant. He was an Amhara, and he himself admitted Amharas are not dominant because of inherent imperialist tendencies. The Oromos could have done it, the Walamos, that is, Wololeta, could have done it, and history proves they tried to do so. Oh, and his final act on this planet was to get some guns and grenades with some friends and go hijack a plane full of innocent passengers. But security was on board, and so he was shot dead, leaving the world no poorer. So then we come to the Marxist Derg, which murdered thousands of people, and the person who wrote this line is a gullible idiot, because Mengistu Haile Mariam, the leader of the Derg, was, still is, Oromo. So were many Derg officials. But to nitpick over which emperor or head of state was this ethnicity or that one is to play a sucker's game. What about the fact that Menelik II relied on Gobina, an Oromo general, to help him gain submission of different Oromo groups? Both Johannes IV and Liji Iyasu spent considerable amounts of time among the Afar. Ras Sayum Mengesha was Tigrayan and one of Haile Selassie's advisors in the post-war period. Yet toxic ideology took root, so that by 1976 the TPLF could write in its manifesto that Amhara are its traditional enemy, even though scholars point out its inherent flaws. We now know that even as the TPLF was part of a coalition of forces against the Derg, it was torturing and incarcerating Amhara people in complexes of caves and natural formations in Wakayet. And there are survivors still around to tell the tale. When ordinary Amhara, farmers, teachers, all kinds of professions, took to the hills and joined Fano units, they fought to help save Ethiopia after the TPLF launched its daily war in late 2020. But as they fought like patriots, Abiy Ahmed's government starved them of ammunition and help, and Amhara were still attacked, massacred, and displaced by the TPLF's ally, OLF Sheni, in parts of Oromia. Congratulations, American officials. This is who you backed for close to 30 years, and this is who you are still protecting now. And the Amhara wait for justice. No one should have to live in fear like this.
መንገድ ላይ ልትሞት ነበር። እማ መንገድ ላይ ነው። እኔ ብቻ ነኝ አማራ። ስመጣ እንደ ደንቆሮ ጸጥ ብዬ ሳልናገር ነው የመጣሁት። አማራ እኔ ብቻ ነኝ። መኪናው ሙሉ ኦሮሞ ነው። ግን እንደማያውቅ ዝም ብዬ እንደ ደንቆሮ ሳልናገር አፌን ዘግቼ ዝም ብዬ መጣሁኝ። አልሐምዱሊላህ በእናትና በአባቴ ዱዓ በሰላም ገባሁ።
The Amhara were locked out of Pretoria and told to disarm, even though TPLF refused to do so and kept its weapons. They're told to give up their guns as more churches are attacked, mosques are demolished, more incidents of ethnic cleansing happen. Now, in addition to lies about their history, Amhara face lies in news coverage about Fano, portraying them as ethno-fascists. But they're not. They're citizen soldiers trying to save their own people. Fano draws on the tradition of the Ethiopian Arbanoch, the heroes who fought against Italian fascism. Indeed, they have a code of conduct that dictates they don't mistreat or steal from the people, they don't abuse their captive government soldiers. Abiy's government wants you to see a terrorist group, but it's a mass movement from the people on the ground. When you hear Fano, think French resistance. Think the Republicans fighting Franco in Spain. Think partisans in the Second World War. Eskinder Nega, the celebrated activist in Ethiopia's Nelson Mandela, has joined a Fano unit and says Fano's paramount quest and vision is the prevention of genocide.
To this moment, we recognize that the emphasis of identity politics is an essential goal. That is the goal we shall strive for.
You know, one day a whole generation of Amhara children will be adults, but they'll still have been traumatized by war, displacement, betrayal at the hands of those who supposedly govern. This is why Fano fights the way it does, because there must be examples for this generation growing up of restraint, civics, compassion, even towards the enemy. Patriots. You who make policy in the West, you who does the consulting or has decided that the West has to influence Africa, here's your chance to do something, not for the sake of a security agenda, which is code for, gee, we can do business there, but to actually help people. They want to go on living. They want a hand in their own political affairs, and they want to preserve 3,000 years of history. Will you help them? They're going to fight on whether you do it or not. They will win as they have always won, but you can help save lives if you stand with them. Fano are the partisans. Fano are the heroes. And right now, Fano means freedom.
Fano, Fano, Yundrinat, Tataki Vagumid, Yundrinat, Tataki Vagumid, Vishinamoranji.
That's it. That's it, folks. If you can still hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. This was very, very moving.
Well, as I'll make the disclaimer, I only speak for myself. I don't speak on behalf of AEPAC. These are my views inherent in the production. I can't stay, so I will duck out cowardly style in case there are any questions. And I'm sorry for, I guess because the bulk of the file, that's why you see a time lag in the way it viewed, but you can see it run more smoothly. I've just posted it to YouTube. I waited until after it debuted here to run it. So there you have it, folks.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you very much. I just am really surprised that you could do all that in that little time that was given to you.
I'm tired now. I'm really tired.
Yeah, and with this really short turnaround. So it's wonderful to have friends like you, because right now, you know, they're becoming rarer and rarer, you know, our white friends, if I may say so. So you are really
You're down to two. You're down to two publicly that I can tell. Well, yes, we should include Chris. Sorry, three. So three that I can think of. And yeah, sorry about that. Like, just stupid white people. Sorry.
But thank you. I mean, also connecting it to the French resistance, connecting it to the Spanish partisans. I mean, that's the language that people understand. And I'm really, really grateful that you brought all this up. You know, exactly. That is what we are and what Fano is doing. So, you know, it's not everyone that resists is not a terrorist. And that is something that this community here can understand. And we will be able to use, you know, your video for, you know, these kinds of things. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So Yeah, this is really very powerful. We're still, I mean, it's always hard after a discussion like that to go back and say, you know, you guys, we're still doing a fundraiser. Can you give us a little bit of money? We have to be able to do the things that we want to do and can do. And for instance, even when we were talking about Congress and having that briefing, we had to, pay for the food and all kinds of things. It's not just the lobbying. It's not just, getting congressmen and helping them with the elections. It's everything else around it that costs money. So I would just encourage you to go on our website and make your donations. It's really very, very important. So we were saying, if you have questions, put it in writing. I do see a hand up, but I would really appreciate it if you could put it in writing into the chat. So
if I can say something, Ezega,
yeah.
Okay, so ዋሲ እንዳለችው there is ብዙ ኮስት ነው ያለን። እዚህ የማይነገረው ኮስቶች ምንድን ናቸው? ካምፔን ፋንዲንግ ዶኔት ለተለያዩ ነገሮች የሚደረጉ ነገሮች ናቸው እና ዋን ታይም ዶኔሽን በጣም አፕሪሺየት እናደርጋለን። ኦልሶ ይሄ መንዝሊውንም አትርሱ። በጣም ብዙ ኮስት ነው ያለው እና ጥሩ ስራ ለመስራት ኤፈርቱን ለመደገፍ በተሻለ መጠን ሁላችንም ኮንትሪቢዩት ማድረግ አለብን እና መንዝሊውንም አስፈላጊ ዋን ታይም ዶኔሽን ብታደርጋችሁ ኢቭን 10 ብር እንኳን በወር ብታደርጉት አስቡት። ትንሽ ሰው ቢኖረን 10 ብር በየጊዜው የሚያደርግ እንኳን ሌተር ሎን 30 እና 50 ብር ዶኔት የሚያደርግ ብዙ ነገር መስራት እንችላለን ብዬ አስባለሁ። that said እኔ ዋሲ 500 ብር ጨምራለሁ ከኔ ሳይድ just so that we will be successful.
Thank you very much. እና አሁንም ሰዎች እየጨመሩ ነው እየሰጡ ነው። እሱን በጣም አፕሪሺየት እናደርጋለን። ኮሜንቶቹም በጣም ደስ የሚሉ ኮሜንቶች our heart is aching we cannot think or talk about peace ደግሞ የሚል if we are supporting any type of ምንድን ነው የሚለው ይኸኛው war okay እና ጦርነት ሰፖርት ካደረግን ሰላም ሰፖርት አናደርግም የሚል ኮሜንት አለ። I'm just reading some of the comments እንትን ያሉትን የተጻፉልንን። Jeff Pierce, thank you, impressive. ዳኛቸው okay, will you post link for YouTube? ያ ጄፍ አደርጋለሁ ብሏል። ይሄንንም ነገር እንትን እናደርገዋለን አይደለም? ካት አድርገን ፒስስ ፖስት እናደርጋለን ብለናል አይደለም?
full presentation is already posted. ሊንኩን ፖስት አድርጌዋለሁ ቻት ውስጥ ድጋሚ ፖስት አድርገዋለሁ።
እና በየጊዜው ደግሞ እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር እያደረግን ሰዎች መጋበዝ እንፈልጋለን። የዛሬው በጣም ይመስለኛል በጣም ፓወርፉል ይመስለኛል። የፕሬዘንቴሽኖቹ የሁሉም የማን ነው የአብዲም የአሊም የነብዩ የጀፍ መስፍን ክሪስ ሁላችሁም አይ ቲንክ ብዙ ነገር የተማርንና ብዙ ያገኘንበት ይመስለኛል እና ይሄንን እንድንቀጥል ገንዘብ ስጡ ላይ ብቻ እንዳናተኩር ሁላችሁንም ኢንቫይት እናደርጋለን ወደዚህ። አይ ቲንክ የተጠጋን ነው ወደ እንትኑ ወደ መዝጊያችን። እንትና ነብዩ ትንሽ ሳምራይዝ ማድረግ ትችላለህ ወይስ ሌላ ሰው ሊያደርግ ይችላል? ትንሽ ነብዩ በጣም ኢትዮጵያን ሰማለን ስላሉ ይሄንን የምጠይቀው ያለሁት በአማርኛ ነብ ትችላለህ?
እሺ እሞክራለሁ። እንግሊዝኛ ነው እንደሚቀናኝ ንግግር ላይ ግን አንድነት መጀመሪያ የተናገርኩት በአሜሪካ የምንኖር ኢትዮጵያውያኖች አዲስ አይደለንም። ከሰባዎቹ ዓመተ ምህረት ጀምሮ ከ1 ሚሊዮን በላይ ቁጥራችን ደርሷል። 3ኛ ጀነሬሽን ነው እና ብዙ ፓወር አለን አሜሪካ ውስጥ። ነገር ግን ለመጀመሪያ ጊዜ ነው አሁን እንደ ኤፓክ የፖለቲካል አክሽን ኮሚቴ ኦፊሻሊ በአሜሪካ መንግስት ሬጂስተርድ ሆኖ ስራ የጀመረው እና ይሄ ህብረት በዘር ሳንከፋፈል ለሁሉም ኢትዮጵያውያኖች ለአማራ፣ ለኦሮሞ፣ ለሶማሌ፣ ለ81ዱም በእኩል በኢትዮጵያዊነት ነው ድምጽ የምንሰጠው እና ከዛ በተጨማሪ ደግሞ በምንችለው ያህል ባለፉት 33 ዓመታት ኢትዮጵያን ተፋፍሎ እርስ በርሳችን ጠላት ያደረገን ሲስተም ነው። It's a system, it's a governing system. 33 ዓመቱ ሆኖታል። በተለይ ባለፉት 5 ዓመታት ውስጥ በጣም አጸያፊ ወደሆነ ጭከና ገብተናል እና ይሄን ማየት በጣም መጽሐፍ ላይ የማይነበብ ፊልም ላይ የማይታይ ጭከና በኢትዮጵያ ምድር እያየን ነው። እርጉዝ ሴት ሆዷ ሲቆረጥ፣ ሕፃን ልጅ ሲታረድ፣ ሰው እስከነ ህይወቱ ሲቃጠል እና ይሄ ጭከና ከየት መጣ የሚለው በእኔ ግምት ይሄ ጭከናን ያመጣው ዘረኝነትን ኢንስቲቱሽናላይዝ ያደረገው ዘረኝነትን ፖሊሲ ያደረገው ሲስተም ነው እና ይሄ ሲስተም መቀየር አለበት ነው ያልኩትኝ። መቀየር አለበት፣ መፍረስ አለበት። ምክንያቱም ካልቀየር ነው ካላፈረስ ነው ኢትዮጵያን ህዝቡ እያንዳንዱ ህዝብ እንደ ሲቲዝን እንደ ግለሰብ ነፃነት ከሌለን እንደ እኩልነት ነፃነት ከሌለን ወይ ተጋለን እናልቃለን ወይ አገሪቷ ፈርሶ ዘላለማዊ ጦርነት ውስጥ እንገባለን እና ይሄን ለማድረግ ደግሞ እርስ በርሳችን ኮምፓሽን ያስፈልገናል፣ ፍቅር ያስፈልገናል። ቢኮዝ አንዱ የከፋፈለን ነገር አርጊው ያደረኩት አንዱ ትልቅ የከፋፈለን ነገር ፍራቻ ነው። እርስ በርስ መፈራራት፣ አማራ ኦሮሞን፣ ኦሮሞ አማራን፣ አፋር ትግሬን፣ ሶማሌ አፋርን እርስ በርስ እንድንፈራራ፣ እርስ በርስ ጠላት ሆነን እንድንታይ፣ እርስ በርስ እንድንሆን የሚያደርግ ሲስተም ነው እና ይሄንን ማለፍ እንችላለን፣ ይሄንን መራመድ እንችላለን። ቢኮዝ ኮስት እያደረገን ያለው ቱ ማች እየፈሰሰ ያለው ደም ባለፈው 5 ዓመት በጦርነት ብቻ ከ1 ሚሊዮን ህዝብ በላይ ሞቷል። ዲስፕሌስድ የሆነ ደግሞ ከ4 ሚሊዮን በላይ ህዝብ ዲስፕሌስድ ሆኗል። ይሄ ነገር ኦንሊ የመቆም የሚችለው እያንዳንዳችን በቃ ካልን እና እያንዳንዳችን ከዘሬ በላይ ሰው ነኝ፣ የሰው ልጅ ነኝ፣ ኢቭን ከኢትዮጵያዊነት በላይ ሰው ነኝ ብለን ያለንን የጋራ ታሪክና የጋራ የፊውቸር ደስትኒ አብረን ሆነን አዲስ ኢትዮጵያ መመስረት እንችላለን። ስለ ድሮ አይደለም፣ ድሮ እንደዚህ ነበር እንደዚህ መሆን አለበት አይደለም፣ ግን አዲሲቷ ኢትዮጵያ ምንድናት የሚለው ላይ አዲሲቷ ኢትዮጵያ ሰውን በሰውነቱ የምታይ አገር እንድትሆን በህግም በምንም በሁሉም የተስተካከለች የሆነች ኢትዮጵያ ለሁሉም እኩልነት ጀስትምስ ኢትዮጵያ እንድትጀምር እያንዳንዳችን አስተዋጽኦ ማድረግ እንችላለን ነው የኔ አርጊመንት። ኢትዮጵያ ደና ታሪኳን ካያችሁ this is a country በሃይማኖት ብታዩ ክርስትናና እስልምና በሁለቱም በቁርአንም በመጽሐፍ ቅዱስም የተወደሰች አገር ናት። የመጀመሪያው የሙስሊም ኢሚግራንቶች ከሳውዲ አረቢያ የትም አገር ሳይቀበሏቸው ኢትዮጵያ ናት የተቀበለችው። 80 በላይ የተለያዩ ባህሎች አብረው የኖሩባት አገር ናት። አብረን ቡና የምንጠጣ አብረን እኔን የተባባልን እኔን ለኔ አድርገው የሚል ባህል ያለበት ሀገር ነው። ልጆቻችንን አንድ ቪሌጅ ውስጥ እኩል ሰፈር ሁሉ የሚያሳድግ ያን ባህል ሞር ኤምፋሳይዝ እናድርገው እና ይሄ እርስ በርስ የሚያስፈራራን እርስ በርስ የሚያከፋፍለን የተጫነብን ሲስተም እየፈጀን ነውና ይሄ ሲስተማቲክሊ እንዳለ ሲስተሙ መቀየር አለበት። ለዚህ ደግሞ በህብረት መቆም አለብን። ከዚህ በተጨማሪ ደግሞ መፍራት የለብንም። የሶማሌ ህዝብ ሲጎዳ እኔ ሶማሌ ነኝ ማለት አለብኝ። የአፋር ህዝብ ሲጎዳ እኔ አፋር ነኝ ማለት አለብኝ። የአማራ ህዝብ ሲጎዳ እኔ አማራ ነኝ ማለት አለብኝ። ቢኮዝ ኢትዮጵያ ሁላችንም ሁሉንም ነን። ይሄንን ይዘን እኔም ያገባኛል ብሎ ነገ እኔ ቤት መጥቶ ሲያንኳኳ ጠብቄ ሳይሆን አንዱ ሲነካ ሁላችንም እንደተነካን አይተን አንድነታችንን በዚህ ካሳየን በዚህ ሶሊዳሪቲ ከገባችበት አገራችን ቀውስ ውስጥ ማውጣት እንችላለን። ለዚህም አንድነት ማለት ደግሞ መጨፍለቅ አይደለም። አንድነት ማለት ደግሞ አንድ አይነት አስተሳሰብ አይደለም። ዲቨርሲቲ ኢዝ ፓወር። ልዩነታችን ኃይላችን ነው። ልዩነታችን በክብር እስከያዝነው ድረስ ኃይላችን ነው እና ዩኒቲ ስንሆን ደግሞ ከአሜሪካ ራሱ ትልቅ መማር እንችላለን። አሜሪካ ከ3000 በላይ ቋንቋ የሚናገርበት ሀገር ነው። የሌለ ዘር የለም እዚህ ሀገር። ግን እንደ ልባችን ገብተን እንወጣለን በማንነታችን ተከብረን። ኢትዮጵያ 81 ዘር ብቻ ነው ያላት ናት 3000 ማድረግ እንችላለን። አትችሉም የሚሉን ውሸት ነው። ስለዚህ ይሄንን ይዘን አዲስ ምዕራፍ አዲስ ታሪክ እንጀምር እና ለአዲስ ትውልድ እናስተላልፍ ነው። ዋሲ አመሰግናለሁ።
Thank you so much. አመሰግናለሁ። አንዴ ይቅርታ እንዝጋ ብዬ ነበር ግን ጥያቄ ኢምፖርታንት ጥያቄ መጥቷል መስፍን አንድ ጥያቄ I think አድሬስ ማድረግ ያለብን እሱን አድሬስ እናርግና I think we can wrap up እና ጥያቄው ምንድነው Ethiopia is heading to a full-blown civil war. Your advocacy is very important in waking up the international community. What's about to happen to Ethiopia? The only way out of these problems is to push for a transitional government and bring intellectuals from all regions to write a new constitution and form a new government based on that. What is AEPAC's position on the constitution of Ethiopia and the political solution going forward? I think we need to say something about that.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely. እንግዲህ ቅድም እንዳልነው ቅድም መጀመሪያ ላይ እንደተናገርኩት ኤፓክ ፖዚሽኑ ፕሮ ኢትዮጵያ አጀንዳ ማራመድ ነው። ፕሮ ኢትዮጵያ አጀንዳ ማራመድ ማለት መንግስት ፎርም ማድረግ ወይም አለማድረግ ሳይሆን ለኢትዮጵያ የሚሆነውን ስራ እየሰሩ በዚህ ስራ ኢትዮጵያውያን የራሳቸውን ውሳኔ እንዲወስኑ ማገዝ ማለት ነው። የኢትዮጵያን ኮንስቲቱሽን በሚመለከት ሁላችሁም የኤፓክ ሰፖርተርስ ሜምበርስ የሆናችሁ ብዙዎቻችሁ እንደምታውቁት ኤፓክ ከአንድ ዓመት በፊት የኮንስቲቱሽናል አሜንድመንት ቼንጅ ኮሚቴ አዘጋጅቶ የዲስከሽን ፎረም ዌብሳይት ተከፍቶ የ15 ሴንትራል ኮሚቴ እና 100 ሳፖርቲንግ ኢንተሌክቹዋሊም ሆነ ወይም እንደዚሁም በተለያየ ሁኔታ ኮንትሪቢዩት ሊያደርጉ የሚችሉ ሰዎች እንዲመረጡ ኖሚኔሽን ጠይቆ ስራ ጀምሯል ነበር። ይህ ስራ እንግዲህ ኮንስቲቱሽን በቫኪዩም የሚሰራ ነገር አይደለም። ማናችሁም እንደሚገባችሁ እንደምናውቀው ኮንስቲቱሽኑን ለመጻፍ መጻፉ ሳይሆን ወይም መቀየሩ ሳይሆን እዛ ጋር የመድረሱ ፕሮሰስ ነው ዋናው ኢምፖርታንት ብለን ነው የምናምነው። እና ያንን ለማድረግ ከህዝብ ጋር ህዝብ ማወያየት ከህዝብ ጋር መነጋገር ሀሳቦቹን ዲስከስ እያደረጉ ነው እንግዲህ ኮንስቲቱሽኑ ክራፍት የሚደረገው። እና ኤፓክ ይሄን ስራ ሲጀምር ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ያለ እውነተኛ ኮንስቲቱሽን የመቀየር ፍላጎት ይኖራል የሚል እምነት ስለነበረውና በዚህም ምክንያት እዛ አካባቢ በአግባቡ እንዳስፈላጊው በመነቃነቅ ስራው ይሰራል በሚል እምነት ነው። ግን ባለፉት ወራት በ2023 ከገባ ጀምሮ ባሉት የጸጥታ ችግሮች ምክንያት እና ባለው ህዝቡ ላይ ባለው ሁኔታ በአጠቃላይ የኮንስቲቱሽን ኮሚቴውን ስፒር ሄድ እንዲያደርግልን የጠየቅነው አቶርኒ ደረጀ ደምሴ ባለፈው ኤፓክ ስብሰባ ላይ የነበራችሁት በሰጠው መግለጫ መሰረት በአገር ውስጥ ባለው ሁኔታ እና ህዝቡን ለማዋየት በማይቻልበት ሁኔታ በኢን ቫኪዩም ኮንስቲቱሽን እንጽፋለን ብለን ብንነሳ ትርጉም አይሰጥም። ስለዚህ ለጊዜው ይሄ ስራው አስፈላጊ እንደሆነ በማመን ስኮላሮች ወይም የሚመለከታቸው ሰዎች ይሄን ማጥናቱን እንዲቀጥሉ እየጠየቅን አስፈላጊ የሆኑ ወረቀቶች ይሄንን መንገዱን የሚያሳዩ ፐብሊኬሽንስ መጻፋቸው እንዲቀጥል እየጠየቅን ነገር ግን በአሁኑ ሰዓት የኮንስቲቱሽናል አሜንድመንቱን ስራ እንቀጥላለን ማለት ፊዚብል አይደለም እና ዋናውን ስራ ሆልድ እናደርገዋለን። ግን ሀሳቡና የፕሮጀክቱ እንዳለ ሆኖ ጊዜ በሚፈቅድበት ጊዜና ኢትዮጵያ ህዝብ ኢንጌጅ መሆን በሚችልበት ጊዜ ፕሮሰሱን እንቀጥላለን ነው። እንግዲህ የዲያስፖራ ውስጥ ያለነው ሰዎች ኃላፊነታችን ማገዝና መንገዱን የያዘ ከመንገዱ ያልወጣ ፕሮሰስ እንዲሆን ማድረግ ነው እና እዚህም ያለው የዲያስፖራውን ኮንትሪቢሽን ላይ ማድረግ የሚቻለው ማድረግ ከዛም አልፎ ደግሞ በኢትዮጵያ ላይ በሚደረገው ውይይት ላይ የሚገባንን ሳፖርቲቭ ስራ መስራት ነው እና ይሄ መስራት ስላልተቻለ ነው እንጂ ኤፓክ የኮንስቲቱሽኑ ልክ አለመሆንና ለኢትዮጵያ ችግር መሰረታዊ ፕሮብሌም ዋናው እንደሆነ ከአንድ ዓመት ተኩል በፊት በግልጽ አስታውቆ ይሄው ስራ መጀመር እንዳለበት ቅድም ያልኩትን ኮሚቴዎች አዋቅሮ በአሁኑ ጊዜ እዛ ቦታ ላይ ያለ ነው ማለት ነው። ዋሲንግ እንግዲህ አይ ቲንክ ይሄ ነው ለዚህ ለጥያቄ መልሱ።
እሺ አመሰግናለሁ። አንድ ኮሜንት ነበር እዛ ላይ ባጭሩ መልስ መስጠት ፈልጋለሁ። እንትን ፋኖን ከነዛ ከሌሎቹ ከቡቸሮቹ ጋር ኮምፔር አታድርጉ የሚል እና አይ ዶንት ቲንክ እኛ ፋኖን ከቡቸሮቹ ጋር እዚህ ኮምፔር ያደረገ ሰው የለም። በደንብ እናውቃለን ያሉበት ገብተው አታክ ተደርጎ ለዛ ለሬዚስተንስ እንደተነሱ እና ይሄም ዝግጅቱም በሙሉም የሚያሳየው እሱ ነው እና ፕሊዝ እንደዚህ አይነት ያልተባለ ነገር አላችሁ ባንባል ደስ ይለኛል። because ማንም ከዛ ጋር ኮምፔር ያደረገ ሰው የለም። የሚደረገው እንግዲህ በወለጋ በሁሉ ቦታ እያወገዝን ነው። አሁንም በቀደም ኮንግሬስም እሱን ነው የተናገርነው፣ አቋማችንም እሱ ነው። ይሄ ለዚህ ምንም እንትን የለው። ሶሪ ታንክ ዩ መስፍኔ ታንክ ዩ እና አይ ጌስ በዚህ እንጨርሰዋለን የዛሬን ዝግጅት እና ለወደፊቱ ደግሞ እየቀረብን አንዳንድ እንደዚህ አይነት ነገሮችም ብናቀርብላችሁ ደስ ይለናል። የምትፈልጉት ነገርም እንዳለ ላኩ። we want to hear more about this ስለዚህ ነገር እንወያይ፣ ስለዚህ ምን ታስባላችሁ እያለ ሌላም እንግዳም ጋብዙልን እያላችሁ ብንናገር ብንቀጥል ደስ ይለናል። ግን እንዳትረሱ ዋናው ነገር ፋንድሬዚንጉን በጣም ያስፈልገናል፣ ብር ያስፈልገናል፣ እርዳታ ያስፈልገናል። ያው እነዚህ ሎቢስቶቹን በተለይ ደግሞ አሁን ደግሞ እንደገና እየከረረ እየመጣ ነው። ትንሽ አንዳንድ ነገር እየሰማን ነው። ምንድነው የሰላም ውይይት ምናምን የሚል አይነት ነገር እርግጠኛ ሬፕሬዘንትድ መሆን አለብን። የኢትዮጵያ ድምጽ የኛ ድምጽ ሬፕሬዘንትድ መሆን አለበት። ማንም ሰው መጥቶ ስለኛ መነጋገር አይችልም እና ይሄንን ኤፓክን ሰፖርት በማድረግ እኛን ፋይናንሻሊ እንትን በማድረግ መርዳት በጣም ጠቃሚ ነው ብዬ አምናለሁ ለሁላችንም፣ ቅድም ሁሉ ሰው እንዳቀረበው እና አይ ቲንክ ዊዝ ዲስ አመሰግናለሁ።
አንድ ሰው አለ እጅ ያወጣ በጣም ቆይቶ
ጥያቄ ጻፉ ብለን ነበር እኮ አልኩኝ ማለት
ጌትነት
ያ ለምንድን ነው
ምናልባት
ኦኬ እሺ ኦኬ ኦልራይት
አሚት እናደርግና በሪስፔክትፉል በሆነ መንገድ ካልሆነ
ባጭሩ ኦኬ ቶ ጌትነት ኦኬ
ዋሲ አንድ አክኖሎጂ ለማድረግ የምንፈልገው ነገር አለ። የዘውዱ ሾው ላይቭ ያስተላለፈው ነው እና በጣም እናመሰግናለን። በዛ በኩል ያሉት ኢትዮጵያውያን ወንድሞች በዌብሳይቱ ላይ ሄደው የራሳቸውን አስተዋጽኦ ማድረግ ጀምረዋል እና የዘውዱን ሾውን አክኖሎጂ ለማድረግ እና ታንኪዩ ለማለት ፈልጋለሁ።
ኦኬ ታንክ ዩ አመሰግናለሁ።
አቶ ጌትነትን አሚት የሚያደርግ ሰው አለ?
አድርጋ
ምሳሌ ከታቸዋለ እኔ ስትራግን ትንሽ
አንሚዩት አድርግ። እሺ
ኦኬ ያ አሽቻቸዋለሁ። አንሚት አድርጎ ራሱ ተናቶ ጌትነት ጋሽኬቾ
አንሚዩት ጌትነት ወይ እንግዲህ ኦልራይት በቃ ኪንግ አላደረጉም። ስለዚህ አይ ቲንክ በዚህ እንጨርሰው፣ በዚህ እንዝጋው። እናመሰግናለን። አደራችሁን እንዳልነው AEPAC.org ግቡና ዶኔሽናችሁን አድርጉ። በሌላም አይነት እዛ ታያላችሁ እንዴት አድርጋችሁ ዶኔት ማድረግ እንደምትችሉ። እናመሰግናለን።
Thank you ተናሉ
መስፍን መናገር ፈልገ ነበር?
አይ እንደ ቅድም ያልኩትን ለማጠናከር ነው። የዘውዱ ሾው በሂሪንጉ ላይ በመገኘት ሂሪንጉን አስተላልፈውታል እና ከፍተኛ ክብር አድናቆታችንን መግለጽ እንፈልጋለን። ለሚያደርጉት ሰፖርት ለወደፊቱም ማመስገን እንፈልጋለሁ። ይሄን ለማለት ነው። አቶ ጌትነት እንግዲህ አንሚዩት ማድረግ ቻሉ መሰለኝ። ይሄው ነው። ታንክ ዩ ኤቭሪዋን ፎር ዮር ታይም። ከ2 ሰዓት ተኩል ጊዜያችሁን ሰጥታችሁናል። እናመሰግናለን። በሚቀጥለው ጊዜ